All right. Welcome everyone back for another live tonight. Let's make sure our audio's good. Everything's running well because we can have issues. So let me know, guys. Does everybody see me? Do you hear me? Let's get that out of the way. All right. All right, here we go. All right, everybody got me? Somebody give me a yes, sir. All right. Oh, Ben Pappas says hi. All right. Is Ben in the chat? All right, can see in here. We are good to go, guys. We got an exciting one today. We are going to talk about, if you saw my most recent video, we talked about the medical examiner reports, and we actually have Stephen Gardner coming on as my guest. He was the one we used his video to talk about this new autopsy report. He's going to be coming on to discuss this with us, so I'm excited for that. Also, if you didn't see, a lot of people have supposedly heard about this autopsy report, as Candace Owens apparently has also heard it. So we have some there's some different accounts of what's potentially in this autopsy report. We are also going to deep dive into the actual official court documents that coincide with this. A lot of interesting stuff. So yeah, it's going to be a good one. I'm excited for it. So yeah, let's let everybody filter in here for the next couple minutes, and we're going to bring Stephen in, and we are going to jump into this episode once we let everybody filter in over the next couple minutes. So hope everybody is doing well out there. Where's this? Thank you very much, dude. I'll take that as a compliment. But yeah, it should be good. Also, we're going to talk about some different things. Let's see what else we got. Let me look through all my yeah, so we're going to talk about the official court documents, the FBI's sort of narrative, and how many problems there are with it already. And then what else we got? Interesting comments from Representative Anna Paulina Luna, who you guys know I like. She's been on my show before, talking about potentially China being involved in Charlie Kirk's assassination. Interesting stuff. And then some of the stuff that's come out from Candace and Turning Point. All right, so should be a good show. All right, so let's bring Stephen in, and let's Candace called on you, homie. Candace hadn't reached out to me. Let's bring Stephen on, and let's jump into this episode. So welcome, Stephen.
Hey,
I'm sure plenty of my chat already knows who you are, but if you want to introduce yourself, and then we'll jump into the discussion.
Yeah, Stephen Gardner, political YouTuber here in Utah, and cover mostly Trump news. But when my friend Charlie Kirk died, I figured I better jump in and try to provide some clarity. And honestly, I'm still looking for it myself.
Yeah, I think, yeah, well, most of us are that are at least digging, which I think is kind of interesting. You kind of feel, besides, not always, there's Candace, there's a few others, but it kind of feels like there's only a few of Charlie's friends who are really pursuing anything beyond this, which we'll maybe talk about. Not that that's nefarious or anything, but I think a lot of us are we're after the truth. And I think that's kind of where you're at too as well, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I want the truth. I'm not married to any idea. I've been trying to track the evidence myself, but at the end of the day, there's a lot of holes that I believe will be filled in once we go to trial that they're just not going to release until then.
Yeah. And we'll talk about that too as we get to the court documents, because me and Stephen were talking about before the show. I was telling him, as I actually went through the official court documents, there's a lot in there that turns out the FBI maybe didn't say, that maybe, different narratives we've heard. So, Stephen, obviously I used your video to talk about this medical examiner's report. We've gone back and forth on people saying there was no autopsy, there was an autopsy. And you did a episode with a mortician, was it?
Lauren, the mortician.
Which was a great episode. And you talked about the medical examiner's report. Could you walk us through, one, how you got the information and what that information exactly was? Like, walk us through the exact thing that at least you were told happened to Charlie.
Okay. I have not seen an autopsy because it won't be done for 6 to 8 weeks from the time that Charlie died. But the information that I was given came directly from Andrew Colvett, who is
Okay.
the Turning Point spokesperson. I met him a couple years ago because I was able to interview Charlie on my show twice. I've only been to one political event in my entire life, and it was America Fest last December. So that's my connection there. I'm not close with anybody there. I've texted with the CFO and also with Andrew, and so they've been kind of sharing information with me. They have only done one interview outside of the Charlie Kirk show, and it happened to be my show. I asked them, why are you coming on my show? And they said, because you are the only one trying to be neutral on the topic. And so I think they're watching all the conspiracy videos. They're watching the horrible stuff being said about Turning Point, about Erica Kirk. And so where I've tried to really just stay fact-based, and they knew me from previous interactions, that's why they gave me the interview. So before we did the interview with Andrew Colvett, and you can go see it on the Stephen Gardner channel, he asked me what questions we were going to go through, and I shared those. And he said, some of these you can ask on camera. Some of these you can ask off camera, and you can totally share them in a video. And others I would rather have off the record. And so as a journalist, I said, absolutely. And so what was shared with me, he said, came from the doctor, not from a coroner's report. And this is where he said his understanding was that the obviously the shot came from the front. He said C2, which you and I now believe is too high.
Yeah,
but
it's not possible.
Yeah. So he said C2, and that the cavitation in the bullet destroyed the neck, and that they found the bullet at the top of the T1 thoracic vertebrae. He mentioned to me that it was a pretty big bullet, but there was also break off, and they were able to find that. So that's what was shared with me. And that's when I said, okay, wait a minute. I'm going to get a forensic criminologist expert on my show. And until I was able to get that person, which I just put that video out yesterday, actually, I was able to get on with Lauren, the mortician, because she's done thousands of autopsies and medical examiner reports. So I wanted to understand, okay, once this report comes out, how are they going to determine all of this? And that's when she shared that they're going to follow the path of the bullet. They may have carved Charlie's body open at the injury. They would have used X-ray, and they would use angles and mathematics to determine how he was. So all of that is separate from what Andrew Colvett shared with me. Now that I've heard both sides of it, to me, it sounds more like he was struck at around C4, C5. But now we've got Candace Owens saying, yes, they're also telling whoever her source is that the bullet was found around T1 of the thoracic vertebrae.
It's actually pretty close to what you've said. Her story is very, very close. It's just there's some discrepancies in. But also, didn't you say in your episode that you weren't told that this was a 30-06 bullet explicitly either, right? By Turning Point?
So what I noticed was he never called it a 30-06. He only ever referred to it as the bullet. I asked him that, and he said it was referred to him as the bullet as well.
Okay. So yeah, that's interesting. The first question I'm going to ask you, because Andrew Colvett, I got to say, I mean, I got nothing against him, but he was the one that put out that surgeon, or the Man of Steel surgeon story. It found just beneath the skin. We know now that that's outrageous. It also doesn't match what the new report that's coming out is. So I've been questionable about that. But my question is, and like you said, this came from a doctor, a surgeon. Could you explain? Because as far as having induced a lot of high-powered rifle rounds on human beings and also treated them, I knew immediately. I put out a video right after he was shot, and I told people in my video, Charlie Kirk's dead. It's not well before he was announced dead, just because I know what that wound does. You're just not going to survive from it. And I forget, is it Frank Turek, the older gentleman that's close with Charlie? Frank Turek? Is that his name?
He's like a Christian pastor. He was the guy in the white shirt and the white hat with the cell phone.
So I saw him doing an interview where he talked about when they got into the car, he knew Charlie was already dead. So my questions when I started hearing about this surgeon at the hospital that knew what happened with the bullet, to me, as far as I'm aware, and pretty much how all medicine works, if you show up deceased, the surgeon is not going to open you up and try to figure out what's wrong with you. So it's a little bizarre to me. How does the surgeon know, or the doctor at the hospital know it crashed into C2? This is all inside his body. They wouldn't be able to see unless they literally cut him open like a medical examiner. Is there any sense there that did the surgeon open him up and try to perform surgery on him at the hospital?
That I'm not aware of. The only thing that I've read is when he went in there, there was like, I guess, a mild pulse, but they knew he was gone. So I don't know if that was like, I don't know how, how sometimes a body twitches after it's dead or whatever. But so I don't know that. But from what this forensic expert told me and Lauren, the mortician, told me, after he died and the family left, they would have probably immediately gone into the autopsy. And that's where they would have dug in. At this same time, Erica Kirk, she's being flown up from Arizona to see the body. And, the Turning Point team would have all been there. So my guess is these comments about the bullet, the destruction of the neck, all of that, they were probably just in the room as the medical people were explaining this. So I don't know that they cut him open or tried to save his life. I personally think he was probably dead before he even got to the SUV. I mean, that Frank Turret guy said it was like his eyes were, just looking off. You see how long it takes them to get him up and moving. I personally believe his neck was so destroyed, they didn't know how to pick him up.
He definitely was dead. He definitely was dead. And this is where I have a problem with, he had a pulse at the hospital. Well, the blood's already evacuated out of his body. I know that because he's not leaking any blood as they take him through the SUV. So essentially his heart's already stopped. It's not beating any longer. And that's why there's nothing pumping out of that coronary artery, is because he's dead. Right. And then your heart actually stops beating. And so I just watching that tells me he was probably dead well before his heart had already stopped. Maybe they could shock him back somehow in the hospital, possible. But again, it just was a little bizarre to me that a surgeon would have been under the impression that they opened him up and found the bullet. Like, how did we find the bullet? How'd the doctor find the bullet before he ever went into an autopsy inside him? You know what I'm saying? That to me is a little bizarre.
Yeah.
And that came out of Turning Point, right? So
correct. Yeah. Lauren, the mortician, said she thinks that they probably found the bullet and the fragments when they did x-ray of his dead body.
Okay. That's fair. That definitely could be something that would make sense.
Yeah. And she said when they do the ballistics and the trajectory and the angles and all of that is based off of the x-rays. And then they will actually use rods to find the exact angle of where that bullet came from.
Yeah, which I think, like you said, when I saw your video talking about he got hit in the C2, and I did the whole video showing how that's not possible. I even said in that video, I moved the line down and I said, okay, we could take the exact trajectory from the exact shot taken. If we move it down to the C4 or the C5, this actually does potentially start to make sense. Still doesn't make sense if it's a 30-06 with a regular full metal jacket round. And we can get into that too, because if a bullet was found, and this is what I'm trying to tell people, because they're like, maybe it's frangible ammo. And I said, well, no, if a 30-06 round hit you, crashed through all these bones and lodged in you, it had to be a full metal jacket round, because a frangible round would have just disintegrated inside the body.
Yeah.
Now we're kind of defying all logic and reason that from 139 yards, Charlie's neck stopped, a round that I can shoot through and through a moose carcass with. But
yeah, the bullet and the gun
on that, but
yeah, no, the bullet and the gun are the biggest mystery for me of the whole thing, because if it's a 30-06, he shouldn't have had a neck or a head. And if it's not, then the gun we're told they found by a chicken coop in the trees is not the murder weapon, right? So that one really has me thrown.
And actually, I want to jump right into the court documents here, because I was talking to you before this. they state in the court documents here, and I'll bring them up, that they found a 30-06, but they don't actually state that necessarily that was, they think it's a suspected murder weapon, but they don't know necessarily. So let me see if I can scroll down to that. Do I have that pulled up? Oh, here we go. All right, so as we scroll down to this in the actual court documents, right, the first thing I want to show you right here, this is interesting to me because it says, talked about what happened, and then they say here, even in the official court documents, they're going to put forward the medical examiner's report is pending. So even law enforcement at the time of submitting this did not have the medical examiner's report, which I think is interesting. But as we come down, or actually, let's see if what was up here.
And let me, so Lauren, the mortician, told me it takes about 6 weeks to have the official autopsy released. So we're still within 6 weeks.
Right. So what you have here, when they talk about this, if you can see this here, it says, they talk about the police found the suspected murder weapon, a bolt-action 30-06 rifle, nearby. But as we go down and get into the actual talking about the shot and the surveillance, let's see if I can find it here. No, that's the gate. You have the shot fired, shape of the rifle. Is it down here? Tried to highlight everything so I wouldn't miss it. Oh, here we go. Right, so it says here, crime scene investigation. It shows no shell casings were found on the roof, suggesting a bolt action rather than an auto loading weapon, and only a single round was fired. What they're saying here is they think it was a bolt action used because there was no round casing expelled at the actual shooting location, which I think is interesting because when you're talking about the actual crime scene investigation and what weapon you think it is, now all of a sudden the 30-06 in legal documents, I'm sure as you're aware, they're very specific in wording. Now all of a sudden we don't have 30-06 in there. So the only mention of the 30-06 anywhere in the legal documents is simply that they found a 30-06 in the woods or in the location. That's the only mention of a 30-06 at all, officially by the FBI. Now, I'm not sure if that means anything necessarily, but they also had, and we can get back into the court documents here in a minute. I want to get into these different takes on the medical report, but they also talk about how in the court documents that they can see that he was carrying the 30-06 in his jeans, which I've completely debunked and disproven. We can do that here in a little bit. And that you can clearly see he's leaving the scene location with this 44-inch long gun. That I think that's still questionable in some of that footage. We'll get back to that. But first, I want to go to Candace Owens, because she just was this today? She put this out. Maybe yesterday, her take, what she heard, apparently, that disproves, or it's the medical examiner report she's heard. I don't know if you've seen this or not, Stephen, but I figured I'm sure you have. This is the one I think she just put out today or yesterday. We'll listen to that.
Charlie's neck indeed did stop the bullet without question. Okay. And this is going to dispel a lot of theories that are out there. And I'm telling you this 100%. Charlie Kirk was shot from the front and the bullet did not exit. And at least a fragment of the bullet was recovered from his neck. And I'm going to tell you exactly where it was recovered from. I have fact-checked this information from multiple sources now. I've actually been sitting on this for a little bit over a week. Right around here. So think about almost in line with your shoulder blade right in the center. Now, why is that helpful? Because it gives us a bullet trajectory, okay? We went in here where you saw that, and it was stopped, and a fragment was pulled from, think right, if you're just touching your spine in line with your shoulder blade. That leads us, obviously, to the part that he's maybe not being forthcoming about. They did not recover a bullet from a 30-06. They didn't recover a bullet from a 30-06. Just didn't happen, okay? It found a 30-06 bullet. Charlie's death certificate certainly would have reflected that. In suicide situations, as just one example, medical examiners, feel free to chime in. I've spoken to quite a few, but when the gun and the bullet are known, they are reflected onto the death certificate. Okay. There is not one reflected onto Charlie Kirk's death certificate.
All right. So that's actually not that far off what you heard. I mean,
yeah, the location of the bullet, just calling it the bullet, those line up. The one area I would push back on her is, so she keeps saying the medical examiner, but then when she's trying to prove it's not a 30-06, she says it's not on the death certificate.
Yeah, I thought that was odd too.
So I reached out to one of the most sought after forensic people. He's done over 7,000 autopsies. He was the head of the entire Atlanta, Georgia medical examiner. I asked him about that, and he said, we never put a bullet or the type of gun on a death certificate. The most it would ever say is death by gunshot or gunshot wound or bled out from gunshot. And then he sent me like 7 death certificates that show that. Now, he said the actual medical exam, which she would not have access to, that might say that, but a death certificate, she's mixing the two up in her mind. So that, and I asked the same thing of Lauren, the mortician, and she said they never put that on the death certificate. So that's what confused me.
Yeah, when I watched that, that I was following her until she said that, and that's where it kind of got a little bit odd for me. Of like, wait, do you have? Because she kind of said she's reached out through multiple sources, and I'm not saying Candace is wrong or lying. I'm just saying she's reached out through multiple sources, verified that it was in fact not a 30-06 round. She also states that an actual round wasn't found, that just a tiny fragment was found, which that I think is interesting because, well, it gets complicated because where is this bullet? If there's no exit wound and it's not inside its body, then it's getting that maybe it's a some type of fragment from a frangible round. Things start to get really confusing really fast. So if like that would be my pushback there too, is like, how do we know it's not? I mean, I would believe it's not a 30-06 round because it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But how do we actually know that's not a 30-06 round bullet inside him? Is there any? I don't know if you've been able to reach back out to Turning Point at all and just ask, like, has it been confirmed what type of round was potentially found? What was actually found at all? Or is that still just kind of up in the air?
I believe it's still up in the air because the final report hasn't been released. But so what she said kind of lines up with what Andrew Colvette said, where she's saying there is no bullet, there's no slug, but there's a fragment of it. So where's the bullet, right? Where he's saying they have a bullet, but there's also fragments of that bullet. So that leads me to believe there's like a slug and at least a couple other metal shards. And when I asked Lauren,
typical for a high-powered rifle round to see something like that.
Yeah, when I asked Lauren, the mortician, about that, she said when they do those X-rays, that metal will just shine like a star. So they would have seen exactly where all the metal pieces were in his neck. I was just going back to I'm going back to see if he says anything specifically about the bullet. Oh, right here. Let's see. That being said, I've never seen the bullet and I wouldn't know how to tell if they were lying. So, and again, when I talked to him, he never called it a 30-06 bullet. He said to me, I don't know that it's not that.
That said this
is Andrew Colvette. So he's saying I didn't personally see the bullet, and even if I did, I don't know what a 30-06 slug in a body looks like. You know what I mean? So and again, I've got one here. I've got one here myself, and I've shot guns. But I just when we spoke, the part that he said that I could share off camera was where they found the location of the bullet. But I just remember him always referring to it as the bullet. He never said 30-06 or anything like that. So, I don't know. It's a mystery. But again, me just reaching out to someone who's done thousands of autopsies, one of the more sought after forensic experts, he's saying it would not be on the death certificate.
Yeah, I don't think it would either. That's why. But again, I don't know what information she's getting. This would bring me into this with Turning Point, as you talked about it before. The only real interview they did with you is they have all this information that you would think, not necessarily. I mean, there is a pending well, there really isn't a pending investigation. Once the court documents are submitted, then the investigation's pretty much over. That was done, let's see, 15 days ago now. They were pretty much done with the investigation. Why is Turning Point giving out this information? I don't want to say to people like you, but it's people like me too, right? Why are they, okay, I'm going to sit here and give you information that you can talk about, can't talk about. I'm going to give some to Officer Tatum. I'm going to give some to Candace Owens, but we're not just going to come out and say it ourselves. Like, I don't want to say this is bizarre behavior, but it is a little bit bizarre to where it's like, why are you telling all these YouTubers and journalists behind closed doors potentially what happened, but you're not just coming out and making the statement yourself? What's going on with that?
So I asked that exact question to Andrew Colvette, and he said two things. You have to remember, like, we're all still part of an active investigation. The other thing is, we all love Charlie and Erica, and we're all terrified we're going to say or do or release something that messes up the trial. And so I was like, okay, that's kind of interesting. Like, you don't want to be the guy that messes up putting the murderer in jail for your best friend's widow. So anyway, for what it's worth, I asked that exact question, and that's what was shared with me.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be sharing that with you or me or Candace Owens or anyone, to be honest, if that's really what he thought. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be giving any information out. But again, this is I've had big issues with him. Again, I don't know him, just bizarre stuff. And like this right here too was the most bizarre to me. And we'll pull it up. And know you this one. Have seen this. Everybody's seen this. When he came out and said this, where he talks about, addressing the lack of an exit wound, just spoke with the surgeon who worked on Charlie. Absolutely should have gone through. We've all seen this, right? He's got the steel neck. The bullet was found just beneath the skin, all this type of stuff. Well, we know that's not possible, that his neck was steel if the round hit his C2 and destroyed his entire neck, right? It blew through all the bones in his neck. And you know him. What is this? Why did he even write this? Why did he put this out to begin with? I don't know. Again, I'm not trying to be critical, but we got to look at this and go, what the hell was this guy doing when it comes to this right here?
Yeah. So I did kind of bring this up because I told them, listen, I don't really like the word miracle because he didn't live. Yeah. And they were like, well, we're thinking of all the people standing behind in the tunnel that didn't get hit with the bullet. To us, that's when we say a miracle, we mean the other people who didn't get hit. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. And then about the Man of Steel, I kind of just got the feeling. I kind of just got the feeling like, okay, if you really believe it's a 30-06 and it didn't blow through the body and you found it in the back of the T1 vertebrae, you might go, holy crap, how did his body stop? So I don't know. I don't have an answer. I wish I did, but so I guess that's my answer of not having an answer.
It almost kind of felt like, I don't want to call him like, not to make Charlie a martyr, but like maybe to not put a spin on it, but like make people that are, a lot of people are traumatized from watching that and give it sort of somewhat of a positive light of like, hey, because of this is, more people weren't killed. But it just seemed like at the time, someone like me who I didn't, I'm still trying to figure out the case, someone who knows a lot about ballistics and hunting, right? I've got a 30-06 sitting right here that's killed a moose. I hear that and then just immediately go, wait a second. Who is this guy? What is Turning Point doing? I no suspicions whatsoever with Turning Point on anything until that statement. And I know a lot of people saw that statement and just went, no, that's not a thing. So anyway, I just wanted to get your take on that. I think that might have just been a mistake. The next one I wanted to get in a little bit of is this, if you're comfortable talking about it. obviously, and I'm not I do none of the who, right? I haven't gotten any of the who's responsible, this and that. But I wanted to get your take as someone who's friends with people at Turning Point, the drama between Candace and Turning Point following the leaving Israel comments, right? Have you seen this? Let's pull that up, because this is a big deal right now, right? And Andrew Colvett is the same kind of person involved in this. I don't know enough about this, about what the hell's going on with this. So that's what I wanted to ask you, and we'll listen to this real quick.
Israel bullying him, and I'm now going to present you proof of what I am saying. This is an actual group chat, which happened 2 days before Charlie Kirk was assassinated. There were 9 people in total on this chat, including Charlie and Rob McCoy. I'm going to protect the names of the other 7 for now. To be clear, I might actually release a name every day this week, but I want to show you this because suffice it to say, Rob McCoy was on this text thread, and I think it helps contextualize him as a person, in my view, that he would attack me for telling the truth about the pressure that he was facing. Take a look. So Charlie writes in this group chat, just lost another huge Jewish donor, $2 million a year because we won't cancel Tucker. I'm thinking of inviting Candace. Somebody writes, ugh. Charlie writes, Jewish donors play into all of the stereotypes. I cannot and will not be bullied like this, leaving me no choice but to leave the pro-Israel cause. He was very clear and he was very explicit, and he did not back down. Not in that Hamptons meeting, which...
All right, so when I first saw this, like a lot of people saw this, went, okay, who knows if this is real or not, until Andrew Kotek came out and had to admit, yes, that is real. Is there context to this that I'm missing, that we're missing, or is this kind of just what it looks like from your perspective as somebody who's potentially close to people there?
Yeah, and I, just to be clear, I'm not super close. Like, I know the CFO and the spokesperson, and we text on occasions. That's about.
You're a lot closer than me, because I'm nobody. Trust
me, I'm more in this spider web than I ever, and I'll talk more about that in a minute. But so this is what I think is going on. Is Turning Point USA, a lot of their money came from Jewish donors. And unlike investing in something where you're hoping to get a gain or not lose your money, when it comes to a nonprofit,
right?
Yeah, when it comes to a donation, there is no return on your money. There's no return of your money. And so you're donating to something that you believe in. This is a guy that loves Israel. He loves the Jewish people. He went there. He met his wife there. Like, he's got a deep connection. The problem is, this war in Israel has a lot of people agitated in the Democrat Party and the Republican Party. Yeah. So, like I've said many times on my show, like, Israel has the right to defend itself, but I don't like how far they've gone. Lots of buildings destroyed, 60,000 people, a lot of them children. I don't really like that. So I think the main problem was every campus and every time he was having interactions externally and internally, he was having to defend Israel over and over and over again. And I think he got exhausted from doing that. Yeah. And he said, I don't want to keep doing this. So then allegedly this Shillman, who was the $2 million donor, he said, if you're not going to back Israel and say that we have the right to defend ourselves and what Netanyahu is doing, then I'm pulling my money. And so then he's in the group chat saying, like, you just played into every stereotype of being tight with money and difficult and blah, blah, blah. And so he's like, I'm done. I'm not going to do this. So he pulls out. And so I think what's going on is you've got a lot of contention about the Israel war, and you've got pressure from Jewish donors. You also have him being murdered. And the stories are running so parallel that in people's minds, they're starting to cross. I don't personally think that Israel killed him, but I can't prove that either, right? So it's just a belief. But so I think what was going on is he got sick and tired of the donation. We're going to pull the donations. You're not going to be able to make payroll. You've got to be a talking point, a talking head for us. Because he even said on Megyn Kelly and other places, like, I love the Jewish people, but I am sick and tired of having my character assassinated, being called anti-Semitic. Like, I love the Jewish people, but I don't need to defend everyone's government. I want to spend more time talking about America and less time talking about Israel. But everywhere he went, they brought up Israel.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, like, I think that's a fair take. That's how a lot of us are. I mean, that's how kind of I am. I don't have anything against the Jewish people, but I'm not going to defend some foreign government, especially, in what's going on over there. I went and fought wars. I know what rules of engagement are. It's, being in the Green Beret and Army Special Forces, I know what right looks like and wrong doesn't. I'm sure Charlie does too. And I think that's probably what some of that was. But anyway, that was interesting. I just wanted to see if you could give us some context, but it sounds, pretty much like what it was. Let's see where I was going to go with. Another one that's kind of, and this is what I want to get. I wish I could get somebody to answer these questions, right? Okay. Part of this also ties into what people think about, like, oh, it was Israel, is we know his security detail. And I have been fairly critical of this security detail, not from the context of them being Israeli, I don't care, but from the job they did. And for the fact that I can watch video of them. I don't know if it's nefarious, if it's negligence, and we'll pull it up. Very clearly did not try to save Charlie's life. I confidently can say that because I can watch it as somebody who is an actual trauma medicine expert and have treated people in combat, right? Like on the ground, high-powered rifle round wounds just like this, and nothing was done correctly, medically, as you could say, when it comes to this. And I would love to figure out who is this security detail? Who are these people? Is it a company that Charlie had hired? I don't care that they're Israeli. I kind of want to know who this company is and how he essentially had a security detail that I can walk through start to finish about how sort of incompetent they are, just based off of, well, I'm not, and I don't want to judge them too hard on not securing the area beforehand, because that campus was a nightmare scenario for a sniper. But after he shot, no one pulls any security or tries to figure out if there's, it's almost like they knew that only one gunshot was coming. So I just watch all of them sort of bail and go straight to Charlie, which is okay. But then I can watch them not treat him and not try to stop the bleeding. I know some people get upset about this, and I'll pull it up. There's no arguing that fact with someone who knows a lot about trauma medicine. I had my buddy Alex, who's a former Special Forces combat medic, on the show to talk about this last week. And I want to get your take on that, because, again, these are people that I'm assuming they don't work for Turning Point, that they're contracted by Turning Point.
According to Candace Owens, he bought the security company. He owned the company. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what his
employees.
That's what she said, that he had bought the security company.
Okay. And say we watch here, there should be, the guy in the center should have both his hands buried in Charlie Kirk's neck right now with an arterial wound. This is very difficult to stop the bleeding on, and there's no blood on anyone. Nobody's hands, nobody's shirts. And I really do want Turning Point.
So let me break this down, because this points out a ton of things.
It's playing in my background real quick.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead and give your take on that while I figure out how to close this.
So again, I just trying to think through this, and I know nothing, but you mentioned, as someone trained in emergency stuff, your friend trained. I'm just wondering if these guys literally had no idea what to do. I've also wondered if his neck is like literally so busted that they don't know how to pick him up. In my mind,
that doesn't matter. He's on the ground. He's got an arterial wound in his neck. It is basic trauma medicine. The first thing you're doing is provide pressure and try to stop the bleeding. It doesn't take an expert to do that, especially if you're running security detail. Maybe this was bad hiring. Maybe these guys weren't experienced. Because I can watch everything they did from the time he was shot would be an F in the after action review grade. We would give him an F across the board. So, again,
I agree with that.
You knew if this, like, what the context here, because I've seen nothing from these guys. I've seen Turning Point come out, and these guys, these security detail guys, nobody. I haven't seen a single interview. I haven't seen anybody involved. I haven't seen them give a statement. I kind of wonder, who are these guys?
Yeah. So I don't know that they're Israeli. I believe the previous security group was Israeli, the Schaefer group.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, because they had dropped them a couple months previous, and then they hired this new one. And then according to Candace Owens, Charlie bought this because he was going to be doing so many tours. The other thing, if you can pull up that video one more time, Nate.
Yeah, I'll pull it up right now. Stand by one sec. There's actually a few of them, a few different ones that we can look at here.
Okay.
That are from different angles.
I just wanted to point out one person that I recognized.
All right, there we go. And I'll play it again here. It should be in pretty much slow motion.
Yeah, play, and then okay, so the guy on the right in the like plaid shirt, he's the one that everyone thinks has a gun stuck up his sleeve.
It also looks like he's smiling, which is very odd.
Yeah, he's definitely secure. So those three right there are security, right?
Okay.
But then just right before the guy in the plaid comes in, there was another guy.
It'll be here in just a second. There we go.
Right there in the polo shirt.
Mm-hmm.
So you see on the banner behind YREFY, Y refi.
Oh,
so
yeah,
that's
I do see the same thing.
That's a student loan debt consolidation group. That's the CEO. So this dude knows nothing about security, nothing about pressure to the neck. Maybe he was a Boy Scout, but he comes walking in and the guy's like, get out of here. Like, so anyway, I don't know who the rest of them are, but that guy, he spoke before the event saying, we're so proud to sponsor Turning Point. We love Charlie. And then the event that I went to, he gave like a 10-minute speech. So I just happen to recognize that this guy has nothing to do with security.
Okay. So that's good. That's what everybody wants to say they're nefarious. I'm not there yet, but I did see was massive incompetence. I mean, there's no way around that. I mean, even when I watched them carrying him out to the car, even as we could look at this one real quick. I mean, even this I can look at and see like, okay, you're carrying him out to the car, still nobody providing any type of actual pressure that they should be providing. I mean, it's just the way they're carrying him after neck injury is absolutely incorrect. You can see nobody's providing any pressure. Nobody's got anything holding on his neck there.
Yeah.
Again, I know like these are stressful situations. Maybe it's kind of me being a little bit unfair because I'm extremely highly trained and this was my job for over a decade to do exactly this. And in those type of high pressure situations, not everybody reverts to a incredibly high skill level of training. So maybe that's unfair of me, but I just thought, it's like, God, the no blood anywhere on anybody's hands to me it's rough. It brings a lot of questions up about who these guys were, I think.
Yeah. I mean, you can see that Charlie's shirt is soaked in blood.
Charlie's soaked in blood.
Nothing on their hands. But yeah, like you said, maybe we're being too harsh, but at the same time, this is a total failure. Like I got to the roof where Tyler Robinson supposedly laid down. I got on there.
You've been there.
Oh, I've walked the entire crime scene. Yeah. So
okay.
Yeah, I know from tunnel.
Walk us through some of those things for us.
Okay, so you come off of 800 Street, and you have to go through this tunnel because there's a fence right there. So that's where they pick up that first picture of him, and the first thing that you notice is a cell phone. He actually stops right there and takes the cell phone out, and then sticks it back in. He walks through the tunnel under the street. And then that's when the second camera picks him up going up the stairs, right? So from there, he would have gone down this back alley where semi-trucks are allowed. This might be easier with a map, but the semi-trucks back up because the building right there is the cafeteria. They've got Chick-fil-A and other things like that. But he goes to the left and he goes through the Losi building and he winds his way up through the building. Then he gets up to the higher level. He comes out glass doors, goes up some stairs, and then right there, you can get right onto the roof in like 2 seconds.
And you were able to walk that?
I was able to go all the way up there. Now they had a crime scene tape.
Yeah. But I mean, you were able to actually walk up and see that.
Oh,
there
yeah,
we go.
yeah. I did a video of it that got about 600,000 views.
Okay, I'll have to go back and watch that. That's interesting.
Yeah, it was really interesting because it kind of opened my eyes of where a different shooter could be. It also opened my eyes of, oh, wait a minute. They made it sound like it was hard to get on the roof. Like, I've never been
Right,
there.
yeah, that's
I'm
what I
just a
thought.
YouTuber. I got on the roof in 10 seconds, So, and I saw the wall where the court documents say he went over the wall and supposedly puts the gun together. And then he runs out for about 10 seconds, lays down. He's there for 2 minutes, supposedly takes the shot, and then he's up, gun in the towel, and he's running. And then that's where the FBI, but that camera that they got him jumping off the roof, that camera also would pick him up going onto the roof.
Yeah, that's what I think too. Another one too is like, oh, he assembled it on the roof, and I think why they're saying that is, I mean, I can show you he doesn't have a 44-inch long gun in his jeans or up his back. But again, the problem with that is, you ever try to disassemble and reassemble a 30-06, especially a pre-World War II relic era? You need a vice clamp most of the time, and you need incredibly. It's not just like a screwdriver. You need very specific tools. It take a long. Like, I had my dad break his down, and my dad's also a Green Beret and world-class hunter. He's been hunting for 40 years, and it took him like four minutes to do it, and he's extremely proficient at it. So it's kind of like, really, this 22-year-old kid who, without the tools necessary, somehow reassembles this gun. He has it in his backpack, but if, like, I can look, I have this pulled up. I think this is like, and we know the FBI put this. Let me pull it up here. We know the FBI put this out because this was the manhunt pictures that the FBI put out, where they showed him coming up the stairs. And this is actually really kind of important, because what this one shows is, and it's cool because you can see left leg here, right? Big left knee is bent. And then as this actually keeps going frame by frame, he takes another step up. Oh, that one. Oh, it was okay. I had a different one on Instagram. All right, I'm not going to worry about it. Anyway, so one on the Instagram, it shows the next frame. It doesn't have this one on it, but shows his left leg then bent at the same degree. And then for the people who said, oh, he's got a 30-06 that's like up his back, well, we can see there's no. I mean, this gun's gigantic, right? So also this backpack. I mean, this backpack wouldn't even hold the barrel of a 30-06. We're talking about a 22 to 24-inch barrel. Wouldn't even fit in this.
Yeah.
So for me, to your point, okay, if we can see him go up there, or we can see him come off, to your point, the security camera, where's that? And maybe we're going to find that in the court trial, right? That's kind of what I'm thinking, is maybe there's a bunch of this stuff that's all of a sudden going to come out at trial that's going to answer these questions. Maybe. What's your thoughts on that?
So we're getting like grainy photos, but those cameras are like brand new. So like,
they're everywhere. I saw, right?
Yeah, they would have
caught through there.
They would have caught him in motion, stopping, taking out his cell phone, going down. We just see a photo. So like, maybe there's video of him limping and you can see the gun a little bit better. And then right as you come out of the tunnel and come around this corner, it goes right up those stairs. Brand new camera right there. So that the photos that you just showed, but then as you snake through the Losi building, there's cameras in there too. And then he gets up on the roof, and there's cameras right there too. So I just think that they released only what they needed to in order to identify him. And if the story they're telling us is true, it worked, because his mom goes, "Oh crap, I think that's my kid." So I don't know. I think they've got a lot more video than what the public believes they have.
Oh, that I'm sure of. That I'm sure there's a bunch of stuff that we haven't seen. I would just say part of it, though, for the FBI is I actually had Chris Piota, who used to be one of the directors of the FBI, on the show 2 weeks ago, and he gave the FBI a D- rating for their job overall with this, right? So even those guys that are very, very high up in the FBI at times, very well respected, are like, this is garbage. And part of it was they were at a rush to put information out. It's not like they didn't put out information. Oh, we caught him, but just kidding, we didn't catch him. Oh, we got him again. Oh, just kidding, we didn't catch him. Oh, here's the gun. Well, maybe it's not the gun. But, and then even Kash Patel 5 days later, actually, we're kind of going to investigate all these different conspiracies because maybe they are true. And it's like, okay, FBI, if you're going to put all that out, why wouldn't you like just come back out and acknowledge some things? Because they've even screwed up. Here's one that's just a huge screw up that the Utah governor and Kash Patel did early, where they talk about him changing his clothes, where they talk about, I don't know if you've seen this clip got a little bit famous because it was kind of obnoxious and it's been proven not true. And that's the Utah governor talking about, all his outfit changes as he bounces back and forth from the roof.
Changes clothing on the roof and then changed back into that clothing at some point, so that when he was apprehended, when he was arrested, the clothing matched the clothing he had on before the shooting here at UVU.
Which, that's my buddy Jimmy's video. The problem with that is, no, he didn't change clothes on the roof. He's wearing the black shirt with the American flag. We see him come from all the way up in it and leaves the scenario in it. He never changed clothes on the roof. And most likely, I don't see how he reconstructed this rifle. So those are from the FBI and the Utah governor, where days later you go, well, that's not true. That's verifiably not true. So I think that's been a big problem for this whole thing for everybody, is the FBI has done a obviously poor job about handling it with the public. And there's so much information we think is good information, like to the point of like, was that actually the 30-06 or was that Steven Crowder leaking a 30-06 from the ATF agent that turns out it's not the gun, and now we're, which medical examiners, I'm not calling you a liar at all. I'm just saying who's heard the real medical report? Like, was it Candace? Was it Steven? Was it Tatum? Like, it's just so hard to know, So, I think we'll probably wrap up this segment. If you got anything else you want to contribute, loved having you on to be able to walk us through what you knew, because I've actually learned some stuff I wouldn't have known. Anything else for the viewers before we move on to the next segment?
No, I would just say remain open-minded, remain skeptical. I think they know a lot more than we know, but also they may have some things wrong. Like maybe that gun was already up there. Maybe maybe he ran out and laid down and someone else shot a gun that isn't a 30-06, or maybe he does take the shot and jumps off, but then to throw us all off, they put a different gun in the woods because they're trying to get away with the crime. So I don't know. I think we're going to find out. My two biggest things is I genuinely believe that his cell phone data is going to play a huge role in the trial, because they would be able to track him everywhere, which is how they knew 20 minutes later he's in a parking lot at a cafe. The FBI followed his phone. They also know that he was at the Maverick gas station in Cedar City at 7:15 in the morning the next day, because they tracked his cell phone and his credit card purchase. And so anyway, there's a lot going on, but that doesn't mean that he didn't run out and didn't take the shot, or it doesn't mean he didn't do it, but he didn't do it with a 30-06. Maybe it was, a less powerful rifle.
I mean, my theory has been from the start, if you would have told me that he used a lower caliber rifle, like a 5.56 or 300 Blackout, I probably wouldn't have questioned the narrative. I'd have been like, oh, it kind of makes sense, and I probably would have moved on. But it was the 30-06 thing for me from the very beginning, from 139 yards, is where I threw my hands up and said, nope, there's got to be something's not right here. I don't know what it is, but thank you very much for coming on. Glad to have you on, and hopefully we do it again sometime. Hopefully we get some more information. We'll see.
Yes. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Nate.
Yep. All right, see you, Steve. All right, everybody, so thank you to Steve for coming on to talk about all of that. Let's hit some super chats, and then we're going to jump into the court issues with the court documents that I think are going to be a problem for the FBI or for the prosecution. It's not things that are verifiably, I can prove are not correct in the court documents, that the prosecution is going to have to somehow somehow prove. All right, so let's burn through these super chats. Thank you all. Sorry we didn't get to him. It was a good discussion with Steven. Glad to have him on. Just Noki, what the F? Qatar building base in Idaho is making us great. Qatar building. I'm not sure what you mean. Sup, my genetic brother and little hat, bro. Palm pistol guy deserves an investigation, even if it wasn't one. I keep seeing the palm pistol. I haven't seen what you guys mean by palm pistol. I've seen the bodyguards, kind of the camera ones. Since it's confirmed it wasn't a 30-06, it's not confirmed it wasn't a 30-06. We just don't think it was. Now comes explaining huge burst of energy Kirk's body was hit by and trying to argue a smaller caliber. Yep. It was an explosive. Only way to explain the energy that hits Kirk's body. Shard found the neck. No, an explosive, especially if it was like the Mike guys, Mike sitting over here, right? An explosive mauls the right side of his neck. Not is it right side? Yeah, right side. Not a single point sort of projectile entrance or exit. Candace isn't a forensic expert. Nope, she's not. Love your show down here in Grants Pass. What kind of classes do you offer up here? I'm not teaching classes right now, brother. Unfortunately. BJJ crew. All right, keep moving through here. To be honest, a lot of people don't believe Charlie's even dead. I've seen a lot of that. You'd have to kind of convince me of why Charlie Kirk would disappear like Elvis when he's such a prominent figure, but I don't know. Why no consideration that MLK was shot from a smaller distance in a similar part of the body with a 30-06 and round was recovered in his body? Because I don't believe that either, brother. Ballistic plate caused an upward deflection. Yeah. Well, according to TPOSA, he didn't have ballistic armor on, so I'm not sure why we should have asked Steven about that one. I don't know why they would lie about that. It would be very, very weird for them to lie about that. It's possible, but I mean, you can't see it on his body. So grandpa gun, grandpa old ammo or wet ammo, all the powder didn't burn, problem solved for fuck's sake. No. I keep seeing this grandpappy's old 30-06 doesn't fire right. No. Grandpappy's old 30-06 right here fires right every time. This is from pre-World War II. So not a thing. Also, why would he have wet ammunition? Like, why would we assume that? Oh, yeah, the assumption is he had wet ammo. Okay. Also, show me the ballistics on that. What does that mean? Bad ammo, low grain, so it went down to what? 1,500 feet per second instead of 24 to 2,700 feet per second? Guess what? 1,500 feet per second with a round this big blows right through Charlie Kirk's neck every single time also. So no, it doesn't problem solve FFS at all, brother. Does not. Earpiece, hyper round, plausible for that damage. I don't know enough about that. Gary, $10. Thank you very much. They don't say anything because anything you say can be held against you in court. Yeah, but the FBI has said a bunch of shit. That's what's crazy. It's like they released a bunch of bad info, some info. But yeah, all right. Ooh, wow. Huge super chat from Project Constitution. Thank you very much. That's incredibly generous of you. I found the actual Pew Pew guy location and identity. Huge break in the case. I'm Project Constitution on Elon's app. Well, all right, guys, head on over to X. Look up Project Constitution. And yeah, man, if you've found the case, I'm gonna have to check you out as well. I'm gonna write that down. So we'll hit that after the show. Thank you very much. All right, and another one. Thank you very much. Again, Jesus, man. I've dug deep into the security company. Both are tied to Israel. And Dan Flood is black military. I found big time that we would make him susceptible to coercion. It's on my channel. I'll have to check that out. I mean, Steven just said he wasn't quite sure that it was a new security company. Again, I don't know. I want those answers. I want those questions answered more than anything. I'm almost about to do a whole video on the security detail because, again, if it wasn't nefarious, they are massively incompetent. And if I was Turning Point USA, I'd want to know why we were spending all this money on this security company that had no fucking clue what they were doing. Personally, I'd probably want to investigate them myself. But again, who knows? We hear one shot. We can see CK's nipple, no armor. Yeah, I would agree with that. CK was shot in the front. 30-06 would have exited the body. Tyler was not the shooter. Someone else was. That's pretty much where I'm at, man. I can't prove exactly how, but most of it doesn't make sense. Vermont Internet Design. What's up, brother? Thank you very much. Maybe we need to talk to Tyler Robinson, ask him if he was hearing voices in his head. Do you know exactly what he remembers about them? I think he was on LSD. We got a little MK Ultra going on. I mean, they used to do that. It's possible. Also, Tyler Robinson's not cooperating, and he's not pleading guilty. So that's also very interesting, I think. All that story about how Tyler Robinson's dad turned him in. No, he didn't. His family hired the Menendez brothers legal team, and he's gearing up for a massive trial to plead not guilty. So what was with that? And we're going to look at that in the court documents here in a minute, because the court documents also do not state that, which is interesting. Love, if you think Valhalla's been infiltrated by a soft shill for Israel. Infiltrated? No, I asked Steven to come on because he's close with Turning Point USA. And guys, if you can't handle having someone that doesn't have the exact same thought process as you on, or maybe has, different views than you about a foreign government or whatever, like, come on, that doesn't mean I'm not going to have somebody on my show, because I actually do believe in free speech and open discourse, and not just living in my own tiny little bubble to where only people I agree with I talk to. So basic first aid class, you were taught to apply pressure to the wound. Yeah, that's 100% true, dude. Everybody and security detail. Think about this: who hires a security detail full of dudes who don't like? The whole point of them being there is to stop someone from shooting Charlie or help Charlie if he's shot, and they very clearly didn't know how to do either. So, yeah, not great. We got a massive, massive super chat here. Thank you very much, Jeremy. $200. I'm sober tonight. Are you sure? Based off that, don't know. Theory is he was shot with a rubber bullet, had some Hollywood special effects for the wound. He's carted off, faked an autopsy, fake funeral, all to create civil unrest. Talk it through. Let us know your thoughts. All right. So interesting on this. While, I'll say this. We can see nobody has blood on their hands when they treat Charlie. I've shown pictures before of right beneath where Charlie was. There's no blood on the ground. There's no blood hardly anywhere. There's no blood leaving Charlie. There's no blood as he's being carried out. And we're talking about a carotid artery gunshot wound. It's pretty sketchy. I'm not a tinfoil hat kind of guy. You guys know that, but there's kind of some part of me wants to lend this way to be like, none of that makes any sense. None of any of this makes any sense. So maybe it's all fake and G, as they'd say, G word. So I'm not discrediting that one either, guys, but thank you very much, brother. I appreciate you for that big dono. It's not what I'm going to lend to yet, but I mean, we're in the world of AI and all kinds of crazy shit. Who knows, man? Why no drone swarm? Yeah, they should have had drones up for sure. Steven seems to be answering without answering. I'm not sure what you mean by that. If Stephen Gardner is a disinformation agent, seem open and pay lip service to conspiracy, keep focus on Tyler. No, he literally ended what he said, saying he's open to the possibility of a second shooter. So I don't think that's what he was doing. Keep focus off Israel. He actually was pretty open and honest, and we talked about my feelings about Israel. So I don't think he did that either. Filibuster about old news nobody cares about. Keep focus off Israel. I don't think he really did that, man. I thought he was pretty open and honest with us. Just might not think the same way we do. How about a .243 breaker barrel rifle? I mean, the thing is I don't know what this rifle is. It could be anything, but according to the FBI, it's 30-06. Although also maybe not according to the FBI. We'll take a look at that here in a minute. Nobody on security detail pulled their firearms out after the gunshot to provide cover. Exactly my point. How did they know there was only one gunshot? It wasn't an active shooter situation. There wasn't somebody that was going to continue to open fire. Very bizarre to me. Even as they're treating Charlie, none of them are concerned about getting down. If Charlie just got shot in the neck and it's me jumping in to help save Charlie, I am on the ground next to him as I'm putting pressure in there so I don't get shot in the head myself as I'm trying to treat my buddy, right? Jimmy Dore was talking about you today. Hit him up, was he? Okay, I'll take a look. Hopefully it was positive. Where can I send you 800 words on the medical inconsistencies on bleeding, posture, etc. to my Instagram? My Croatian grandpa, German, Car 98 used a Stalingrad, still works in Croatia. It was during the 91 and 95 yard. Old rifles are durable as fuck. Yes, they are. You guys know why it's called a 30-06? Let me check the chat real quick. Any experts in the chat? Why is it called a 30-06, guys? First one to tell me exactly why it's called a 30-06 wins. Don't Google it. Let me see who's a quick expert. Yeah, there we go. We had a couple quick experts. 30 caliber. The gun was created in 1906. There you go, boys. Well done. Pretty fast ones there. All right. Project Constitution, again, thank you very much, man. Free speech and debate is the cornerstone of our republic. Yeah, I mean, that's like, I kind of get, it bugs me a little bit when I have people in the chat, when I have guests on that don't think exactly the way we potentially do in our community, that like there's some shill or there's some fed or we shouldn't listen to them. It's like, why? Like Steven actually knows these people at Turning Point. He's a great person to talk to because he can tell me things that they told him. And then I can take that information and use it in my perspective how I want. You know what I mean? I don't think he's a bad faith actor. I think he just doesn't. I think we agreed about a lot of things. Seems like a good dude to me. Again, I don't have to agree with you to have you on my show. Winnie the Pooh, $5. Thanks for keeping it objective and talking with people you disagree with. That's professionalism. Exactly my point. Thank you, brother. Hand signals are being made by security. Is that normal? I don't. Here's the thing, man. Everybody's got microphones on. There's no reason to make hand signals when you can talk on a radio. Also, you don't need hand signals to tell the shooter when to shoot. He's going to take the shot when it's the appropriate time to take the shot. So the hand signals thing for me is kind of a non-starter. Now, but the security detail, yeah, there's a lot there potentially to look at, but the hand signal thing, other than the guy who does the weird stuff, like the one guy looks like he presses something right as he shot. I can't explain that, but I can tell you that's bizarre. Suppressed PCC could explain the entry. Yes, it could. The problem with the PCC is that it's probably not going to create the cavitation that we see in the neck, right? I don't think the round's going to be big enough. Well, I know the round's not going to be big enough to take that massive level of cavitation that snaps his necklace off and throws it back. It's definitely a high-powered rifle round, in my opinion, that hit him. Just not from I just still can't believe it's 30-06, personally. But anyway. For once, a channel that is open and impartial. Semper Fi. Thanks, brother. All right. Michael Thomas, $10. I know this is a conspiracy theory as hell, man. At this point, we're open to everything when it comes to this stuff. But when TR takes his phone out on the stairs, Tyler Robinson, at one point, security to the right of CK takes out his phone and looks at it, wonder about the time frames. Ooh, that's kind of an interesting one. The fact that he takes his phone out and potentially calls or texts somebody right before this happens is very bizarre to me. Charlie's arm comes up as the security is working. Yeah, they could have just moving his arm to try. I would say moving his arm to try to get access to him to treat him, but they didn't treat him. So not really sure what the hell that was, right? All right, next thing I want to look at is some very bizarre, I don't want to call it bizarre, but some comments that have come out recently that I don't know. We'll talk about this one first, which is I'll pull it up here. Potential Chinese involvement in Charlie Kirk's. I want to get your guys' take on this. Okay, so this just came out, and I know Congressman Luna. She's been on the show before. She's awesome. This is very bizarre to me. This just came out a couple days ago. It says, breaking, Representative Luna says foreign government funding linked to Charlie Kirk's assassination. Representative Anna Luna has claimed that investigators have uncovered connections between foreign government funding and the assassination of conservative commentator Charlie Kirk. And then it says in another one that there's potential Chinese involvement. This is... Okay, well, this is bizarre because, first of all, investigators. So if investigators have found, let's stop. Okay, and again, I know Anna, and I think she's a good woman. I think she's got a lot of integrity to her. If she's saying that there's investigators have found involvement, it says foreign government there, whether it's, I believe it says China. Let's see if I have another one. I believe it was China. I had a couple. I got a million tabs, guys. Oh, here we go. But this came from, this was spun off by old Laura Loomer. You guys know old fucking Jigsaw. We're obviously a big fan of her on the channel. Laura Jigsaw Loomer here. She says she just spoke with Congressman Congresswoman Luna. I'd want to ask Anna about that. And she tells me that she has received evidence that China funded one of the groups under the FBI investigation for ties to Tyler Robinson's Discord activity, where he may have discussed his plans to dispose of Charlie Kirk. So this is our actual government. Oh, yeah, Laura Loomer. Yeah, fucking. I don't trust Laura Loomer as far as I could fucking throw her. Actually, I could probably throw her a lot farther than I than I trust her. So I probably shouldn't say that. But that's not, as far as I know, is that what Congresswoman Luna said? I don't know. But I do think it's odd that our own government is now coming out and saying that investigators are finding ties that a foreign nation helped fund the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Because what does that mean? That means that Tyler Robinson didn't act alone. That our own government is literally, our own government just said Tyler Robinson didn't act alone. Okay. So if if he didn't act alone, then why is the FBI wrapped the case up? Because the FBI is fucking done. There's 15 days ago now, they wrapped their case up and they submitted the court documents for him to be tried. So what? Now all of a sudden, 15 days later, now we know who it is? I don't know. That's incredibly bizarre to me. But I want to go through the court documents, guys. I pulled all the court documents up. I highlighted everything. And I want to talk about just issues with the court documents and what they're going to have to prove. So let's do that. Let's pull these court documents up. And this is official court documents. This is what is being submitted. And that Tyler Robinson, the prosecution is going to have to prove these things in this case. All right. So as you can see here at the top, and any of you guys can pull this up, you just Google Tyler Robinson court documents or whatever. As we can see here, Utah County, all of the prosecutors, everybody's involved. Case number, yada, yada, yada. Okay. Count aggravated murder. The start of this, I'm not going to go through all the charges. There's tons of charges because they're going to want to make sure they can get them on something, right? Aggravated murder, violent offense in the presence of a child, felony discharge of a firearm. I mean, that's just yada, 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 right? Like 10 different counts. Okay. You can go through those. Essentially, he murdered Charlie Kirk, right? That's what they're saying. Now, let's look at some interesting things I highlighted as we went through this. Okay. This is actually the first thing here. Probable cause statement. So you have the only time we see this actually stated in the court documents about the rifle potentially used is right here, right? So it says Charlie Kirk was shot and killed while speaking to a large crowd on the campus of Utah Valley University in Utah, counts 1 and 2. Police found the suspected, these are like, words are very important in anything legal jargon, right? Suspected murder weapon, a bolt action 30-06 rifle nearby. And there's no talk of Grandpappy's old rifle or anything like that about in the court documents, but we'll get into it. Okay. So, and then continues to go on as they're looking for Tyler Robinson. All right, here into the shooting. This is what the prosecution is actually claiming happened with the shooting. A lot of this, right, it's kind of fluff. Turning Point USA, a nonprofit organization founded, blah, blah, blah. All right, so talks about everything building up into the shooting. All right, this is really not that interesting either. Other than right down here, it comes into Mr. Kirk was rushed to a nearby hospital where he was declared deceased. The medical examiner's report is pending. So the reason why this one's important is it shows all of the people, and Stephen Gardner didn't claim that he's seen the autopsy report, unlike old Officer Tatum, who told us that he's seen it, right? Do I got the clip of that? Well, this guy, yeah, fucking. Hold on, I'll pull this up. All right, so you got some influencers like him who are letting you know exactly what happened. So let's show that. Back it up.
Obviously, because I have connections, and I confirmed that the autopsy was done. I don't want to say too much, but the autopsy yielded where the entry wound was and how the bullet killed him. It's already been determined. They found the bullet lodged in his body. They can tell you exactly where, what was severed, what killed him, where the bullet traveled from his neck down through his body. They have it all, fragmentation of the round that spouted through his body. They have all of that.
Okay, they have it. All right, so there you go. So you got guys like that who are telling you he's seen it. He knows everything. It's all there, right? Well, okay. Interesting to me that fucking Officer Tatum has seen this autopsy report, but the fucking court hasn't. So that seems bizarre to me. And again, as I'll show it to you again, like we were just looking at it, that you know, this isn't my opinion. This is the exact court documents that say the autopsy results are pending, not we know what they are. Right? So we got this back up. Let's take a look. And right there, that's in the court documents. So I don't know what old Talmud Tabum's talking about, how he's seen this autopsy, because fucking the court hasn't seen it yet. So he's got good sources, or he's just full of fucking shit. You guys decide. Next, all right, there's surveillance investigation. This is where it gets very, very interesting. Okay. Right. So right out the gate, let's talk about, I highlighted just some issues. Okay. So at the moment, let's look through this. The surveillance investigation. Let's just read this first paragraph and see if this sounds plausible. At the moment of the shot, the exact moment. This is the court documents. This is going to be submitted by the prosecution. A UVU police officer was watching the crowd from an elevated vantage point. As soon as he heard the shot, he began to scan the area for threats. Believing the shot came from a rifle because of the sound, he looked for the potential sniper positions. He noted a roof area approximately 160 yards, which is not correct. It's 139 yards, which makes you wonder how court documents being filed by law enforcement officers got that so wrong. But I digress. Away from Mr. Kirk as a potential shooting position and rushed there to look for evidence. Okay. So, someone was just assassinated. Gunshots are ringing out. And the first thing this cop does is look exactly to the location where the shooter is, and he rushes there to look for evidence. Shouldn't that police officer have been, I don't know, maybe trying to make sure the shooter isn't still killing people? Maybe securing the area? I'm not sure the first thing you're supposed to do as a police officer in an active shooter event, and all of my police buddies can help me with this, but I don't think that step one of police work during an active shooter is rush to look for evidence. Like, is that your job? In the middle of an active shooting event? Okay, maybe it is. Yeah, oh sure. Yeah, I just rushed there to look for evidence, make sure nobody took the evidence off the roof. Okay. Sure. Why not? That's exactly what law enforcement officers would do in that situation, I'm sure. I mean, that makes complete sense. Let's keep moving on that. So that's bizarre. And then we come down here. All right, here we go. So it says, this actually talks about, because we were talking about, and even Steve and I were talking about, how it's very bizarre that they have all the footage of Tyler Robinson going to the roof, leaving the roof, but they just don't have any footage of him actually taking the shot, even though we can very clearly see the location where he supposedly was shooting from, and the footage just happens to start right after that. Well, they address that. Law enforcement addresses that. And they say, essentially, police reviewed surveillance from the camera covering the roof and discovered that recorded an individual dressed in dark clothing cross the railing from the public walkway and drop onto the roof at approximately 12:15. Although the individual moved out of the camera's view for a short time. Oh, dang it. Just out of view, guys. The camera footage picked up everything. Him coming to the roof, picked him up leaving. He was just out of frame to see him actually take the shot. Man, that's unfortunate, isn't it, guys? Isn't that a big dang? dang, we've got camera footage of everything, but just not the one tiny spot he happened to be at, even though we can see it in that footage. Okay. Okay, that's okay. Well, again, these are the official court documents, ladies and gentlemen. Not me saying the FBI said this. This is the official court documents that will be put in front of a jury of his peers. So then it says down here, right? The discovery led to an intensive review of UVU surveillance recordings, an attempt to track and identify the suspect. Surveillance revealed the following: at approximately 11:51 a.m., the suspect entered campus from the north. He is seen wearing a black T-shirt with the American flag in its center, dark baseball cap, sunglasses. That's weird because the Utah governor and Kash Patel told us in that interview that he hadn't changed into those clothes yet until he got to the roof. Oh, that's gonna be a little whoopsies. I have to explain that one away somehow. Our bad. Though throughout the surveillance, the suspect keeps his head down, really raises his head hard enough to get a clear image of his face. That's convenient. As he proceeds across campus, he is here. This is what I love. He is seen walking with an unusual gait. The suspect walks with a very little bend in his right leg, consistent with a rifle being hidden in his pants. All right. The official court documents are going to prove to a jury of 12 peers he, in fact, has a rifle in his skinny jeans. Ladies and gentlemen, the official court documents. Let's take a look at that. Why not? Okay. Well, let's look. Because they proved it, right? Let's see. I got them. Here we go. Right here. Let's take a look at this. Okay. We've been over this before. This is the video footage they're talking about, which we're going to talk about this video footage. Notice whose footage this is, by the way. You guys see the background of this video? You guys know who initially released this footage, right? That the official court documents are using. Anybody see the water stamp on this video? What's the water stamp on this video say, guys? Before we even start. The most trusted fucking source in media, baby. Yes, this is a TMZ video that is being used as an official court document. That seems like a good idea. That seems credible. Nice work, law enforcement. Not trying to talk shit about law enforcement, but fucking really. Here we go. All right, so he's got a limp. Keep in mind, his knee is still bending, and it's going to zoom in here. Yes, we're talking about a 30-06 44-inch long gun with a scope on it is concealed in his right leg. As it zooms in, see how his right leg is still bending drastically? Okay, so that's what they're going to say because they can see that video. Also, you guys know, have you seen, you know whose house that was? Just bizarre stuff, right? The guy who submitted this to TMZ was the guy who ran against the current governor in Utah. He just happened to own that house and he was there. That's his car in the driveway. Yeah, super bizarre coincidence. Why not? But yeah, TMZ. So TMZ footage, the court documents. You can't make this up. The official fucking court documents are using a TMZ video, which is very clearly, obviously, he's not carrying a 30-06. Guys, should I show you how big this gun is? Those of you who haven't seen it, I've got one right here. Let's just take a look. If this even makes sense. Fuck it. Why not? I'll put one up to me right now. All right. Why not? See this? See this thing? This is what he supposedly has in his skinny jeans. Look at this. This gigantic gun with a scope. Right? See how big this thing is? So, and guys, I'm way bigger than this dude. And you want to tell me, okay, not only that, they say, all right, well, it was in his skinny jeans. Well, we showed this video earlier. It's not in his skinny jeans. I could literally bring it back up and show you. Actually, I did have, did I have a better one? Nah, it's fine. We'll pull this back up and actually show you him walking up the stairs to where he takes the shot. Right? It's right here. Homie doesn't have skinny jeans. There ain't no 30-06 with a giant scope in either of these. Again, the next frame, I have it in an Instagram post. It shows both of his legs can completely bend to this. Okay. Again, this is in the court documents. He's hidden in his jeans. Or let's say, oh, well, it's up the back of his jeans. And no, it's not. That's him, supposedly. There ain't no fucking 30-06 in the jeans, in the back of the shirt, up the back of the shirt. Like, who's that? Like, what is this? What is all this? Ban Gary Hughes? Who's Gary Hughes? I'm not seeing that. Anybody want to fill me in? Everybody's saying ban him. Anybody know who he is? I don't know who that is. But anyway, there's no, he's got no 30-06 with him going to the roof. It's not in his pants. You're going to tell me it's broken down? A 30-06, you need a vice clamp to break down in most cases? Is in his tiny little backpack? The butt's in his armpit? Well, who's Gary Hughes? He trolls Gary at Paramount Tactical. This is what he does. I don't know who. I know Gary. I don't know who Gary Hughes is, though. Am I supposed to know who that is? Sorry, guys. I see a bunch of you guys talking about it in the comment section. I don't even know what he is. What's he trying to say? Is this somebody I should know? Chat? Anybody? Anybody got? No? Nobody knows? All right. Well, I don't know who he is either. Anyway, yeah, so very clearly, like, the court documents show he's got, that he has this in his pants, which he does not have in his pants. It's not a thing. So that's going to be very, very difficult to prove, right? You got to prove that in the court of law. You put it forward in your court documents. That's how he got this rifle to the roof. That's not me saying that. That's the fucking court documents. That's what the prosecution has to prove. That's going to be tough. Right? It's going to be very, very tough to do because he obviously doesn't, right? So that's the big part. All right, let's keep moving through it. All right, and we got, so it's consistent with him hidden in his pants. He doesn't have it in his pants, right? 30-06 is gigantic with a scope on it in skinny jeans. It's not a thing. It'd be the most obnoxiously easy thing you'd ever be able to see. All right, camera later captions the suspect as he runs across the roof. The suspect shooting to the shooting position immediately after the shot was fired. Cameras capture the suspect running across the roof carrying an item shaped consistent with a rifle. Also, not true, which we can look at because I have it here. Right? Let's pull it back here. Pull this up. This is him exiting the roof, which again, this footage is obviously doctored and edited, which is very bizarre, right? Like people disappearing, shadows disappearing, people evaporating into the fucking nether. Very bizarre footage. Also, prominent markings here that you can see that actually where the shooting location would have been. So why they don't have that, I don't know. But supposedly it starts right after he took the shot. Okay, so we can watch this one as well. We've all seen this 100 times, right? But as you can see him running. All right, here we go. This is the perfect spot. See this? This is where I want you guys to watch him from. You can see anybody who runs with a rifle, guys, I'll show you this again because I don't know. Some people have never carried a rifle, I guess. When you carry a rifle and you run with it and you're trying to get out of a situation as fast as you can, carry a rifle like this at your side and you fucking run with it. Okay? That's typically, or here, two different ways. Either way, look how big this thing is sideways. Gigantic. Now you're going to wrap this in a giant black towel? Okay. Talking about a 44-inch long gun. All right? 44-inch long gun wrapped in a towel. So now this thing's this big, and like this. Where is it? Where is it? Watch him run. Where is it? Where's this magic 44-inch gigantic gun wrapped in a towel? You guys see it? I don't see it. He puts something small down here. Looks like a jacket. That, see right there, what he put down there? That was like, 18 inches? He jumps down. Watch what he picks up. And we're actually going to slow-mo this. Actually, I think we can get a little better footage right here, is it? All right, here we go. Watch this. We can see what he picks up off the ground. You don't have to be an expert for this. You can watch with your own eyes. Watch what he picks up off the ground. It's not a solid, straight object 44 inches long. It's loose. That's loose. That's 1.5 feet long. Drops down. This is 0.25 speed, right? Watch what he picks up. It has to be in his right hand because we'll see in his left hand, he grabs his hat, takes it back off. The object he picks up in his right hand, also, if you drop this off the roof and the towel would have flown off. He picks up a floppy object, like a bag or a jacket of some sort. Watch right here. Watch what he picks up. Floppy object. See how it flops around? Yeah. And he takes off running. Okay, again, see that? That ain't a 44-inch fucking long gun, boys and girls. And then watch the left hand, takes the hat off. There it is, hat's off his head. Left hand puts it back on. No 44-inch long gun. And as he goes out to the street, we'll turn back here. You notice how nobody is concerned with this kid as they're walking right next to him? Watch. There's people everywhere. Cars driving by. We'll turn the speed back up. Look at this. There's people everywhere. He's got no fucking gun with it. Where's the 44-inch long gun? Right? It's not there. Okay. So again, prosecution has to prove that because that's what the prosecution said. So, I mean, maybe they got better footage than that, but according to the court documents, they don't have better footage than that. They state that is the footage that they have. So you got to prove he got to the roof with this fucking, and again, I showed you how big this gun is. This isn't a break. This isn't like my AR-15 over here. I can break it down, right, into getting into it in backpack. We're talking about a 42 to 44-inch long gun. Oops. Okay. So very bizarre. What was this? All right. So let's where was that? Let's go back to the we'll go back to the court documents. Again, keep in mind, these are the official court documents put forth that the prosecution has to prove to a jury. They have to prove that he had a 30-06 in his pants, in his skinny jeans. They got to prove that he left with it. And also, they got to prove a 30-06 is what killed Charlie Kirk and created no exit wound. They got to prove all that. No, there's no folding stock on a World War I era 30-06. It's nothing. All right, let's go back to the information. All right, here we go. Let's pull it back up. All right, let's see. Oh, yeah. So this is what's kind of interesting, too, when we get to this. When we talk about they no longer use 30-06 when they're talking about the crime scene investigation, right? So I think this is very, very interesting right here. So they say, law enforcement officers followed the suspect's escape path to the northeast into the campus where they believed the suspect left campus and entered a wooded area. In that wooded area, investigators found a bolt-action rifle wrapped in a towel. Okay. now known 30-06. Again, specifics are usually important here, right? That's not here anymore. The rifle contained 1 spent round and 3 unspent rounds. Okay. This is consistent with the facts officers observed at the time of an immediate after the shooting. No shell casings were found on the roof, suggesting a bolt action rather than an auto loading weapon. Only a single round was fired. So what they're saying here is it's their assumption that a bolt action rifle was used because no shell casings were found. They state it right here, rather than an auto loading weapon. Okay, that's a little bit different than stating it was a 30-06. Now the assumption is we are assuming it was a bolt action rifle that Tyler Robinson used because we didn't find any shell casings. Let me ask you guys something. What might be another reason? I want to see what the chat thinks here. What might be another reason why no shell casings might be found? You guys got anything? Throw them in the chat. There's some pretty obvious ones. I mean, that's the court documents. But what do you guys think? What are some other reasons why there'd be no shell casings? Anybody? He picked it up. Shell catcher. Gathered evidence. Or how about this one? Oh, there we go. No fucking round was fired because he didn't have a gun on the roof. That would be a pretty good reason why there was no shell casing found. Because I don't see him get to the top of the roof with a gun. So, I mean, that's a pretty decent reason why there'd be no shell casing. Now, again, it's bizarre if they do have that rifle in the woods. I'm not saying I'm not saying this didn't happen. He didn't go up there. He didn't take the shot. I'm just saying that's a little bizarre. So the court documents are working under a lot of assumptions here, right? They have to prove to the jury. These are things they have to prove to the jury, right? Which is also kind of bizarre to me about why these court documents got submitted so fast. And let me break that down for you. Think about it this way. So the investigation, apparently, when were these submitted? It was actually pretty early, I think. Do we got a date? I might have missed the date. I want to say this was maybe the 15th, 22nd, 15th. Anyway, I have to look back through it. Let's pull it back up. So the things about this is that are odd, right? Is they file the court documents, right? They have all of the charges, right? Every charge they're going to try him for. They have the narrative of what happened, all of it. What's bizarre to me is they decided to do this while they stated medical examiner's report is pending. Okay, so here's where I got some problems with this. Let's say, and these are hypotheticals, right? You put forward all the court documents. You state that a suspected murder weapon is a 30-06. What happens if you don't have the autopsy report yet? If you're law enforcement, what happens if the autopsy report shows it's a 5.56 round? Well, then what? Do you just let Tyler Robinson go? You're like, oh, well, disproves the whole case. There's no. I mean, I'm not saying it's going to show that. I'm just going to say it seems odd that you would rush these court documents out and use, like, literally TMZ footage. The TMZ footage of Tyler Robinson having the gun in his jeans is in the court documents. That is fucking wild to me. That they would put that in there. It seems a little bit rushed. All right. I don't know. Let's hit some super chats. See what we got. Apparently chat's going off. All right, when the trial happens and you're wrong about everything, are you going to stop drifting and paybacks? Drifting mean grifting and payback super chats? No. If the trial, let me say this: if the autopsy report shows that a 30-06 with a full metal jacket round was used and it didn't go through Charlie Kirk's neck, then I won't believe it, and I'll just say it's a Fed cover-up probably. because it's just not possible. So, nope. Get fucked, loser. How about that? All right, Marco Capil, $10. I don't have Instagram. Can I send you on X? I don't have X, brother. You got to hit me up on Instagram or email me. Kelly gifted 5 VFT memberships. Thank you very much, Kelly. I appreciate that. Full autopsy can take weeks. Preliminary results are often ready within a week. Again, we'll see. I would assume here's what I would say under the assumption for law enforcement, right? I would assume law enforcement either the bullet was fragmented and they can't identify what type of bullet it was, or they have the bullet. And that's why they filed the court documents. I can't imagine they would have filed those without one of those two things. That would be bizarre to me, but who knows, right? Everything seemed very, very fast the way it was processed. Collection of evidence like the lapel mic audio for the gunshot impact, timeline to compromise mishandling of crime scene. There was no crime scene for the most part. I mean, we even talked to Chris Pajota about that. They just didn't really secure anything. Seemed like there wasn't really any investigation done. Seems like, and you look at the court documents, it's basically just the narrative that they put out the first day. And they were like, yep, got it. We're good. And that's what they're going with. So we'll see. Hand signal guys were just signaled a gunman when to fire, not hit Charlie, but also provide covered sound to cover up an event on the stage. Yeah. We get it. Like, here's the thing. We get into like, okay, like there's an audio coming from a different direction and all these different things happen and everything happened at once. It gets so convoluted, guys, that the realistic possibility of something like that doesn't really make sense when you can just shoot the guy. You know what I mean? It doesn't need to be that overcomplicated. Usually the more complications you put into a plan, the more likely something goes wrong. So that's kind of like the Occam's razor, right? Like the explanation with the least assumptions needed is the one that's most likely true. The problem is, like, there's a lot of assumptions needed for any of the narratives, including the official one, like the assumption he got to a roof with a giant 30-06 that we can't see. But again, Jim, $10. Thank you. How can the prosecution possibly even present this to a court? This is insane. I don't know. I wish we had like a trial lawyer that we could get on to be like, what's the realistic probability of this? Because again, they hired the Menendez brothers legal team. Like, this is one of the best legal teams for this type of case they could possibly hire. They hired. So the family hiring the Menendez brothers legal team, they aren't doing it if they don't think they can win, typically, or they don't want to, try to win. So it's going to be a huge case for sure. Who are they going to try to get? The kid that got locked up is not the assassin murder. Did they even do gunshot residue? I don't know, man. Well, we don't have any of that information yet. We should do a quick view of Project Constitution's video. Leaves room for ponder. Yeah, again, it's hard to do. If I haven't seen it before we actually do the show, then yeah, I don't really like putting. I will look at it, and if it's good, I'll probably do a video on it. But I don't like to do stuff like that live, just in case. Chanley, $5. Makes more sense that the video of him limping was post-roof. Yeah, I know. That's what I thought too, other than there's like a timestamp apparently in one of the videos that shows, again, it's a TMZ video provided by, just so happens, again, the guy who owns the house ran against the current governor, like all this bizarre shit, right? So it would make more sense that way, but I don't know. It's hard to tell. Koenig von Hoppenheimer, you've been around too many explosions, my friend. I have been around a few, no doubt about that. He crammed the rifle up his noose. I mean, I'm not going to make any comments about his love life. I was going to say there's possibility of that, but I don't want to get banned off YouTube. Raging Cajun, $10. This is a sleight of hand. They want everybody to look at this document while all the truth is still out there. It's all suspicious. Trump and the rest are in on it. I don't know. Maybe. I'm not discounting anybody at this point. Logic, Project Constitution, very compelling. All right, well, everybody's saying it now. Hold on. Constitution. Yeah, I'll get to it. We'll look at if it's good, then we'll cover it on the next live or in a video. Case solved. The rifle isn't in his pants; it's in his prison wallet. Another one of those. Nate didn't do the rubber pencil trick in school. I don't know the rubber pencil trick. Gary Hughes is a great YouTube investigator. He creates a very detailed explanation, but he can also be abrasive and ask viewers for money on stream. Like he actually asks people for money. Like ask people to donate to him. Yeah, that's a fucking loser right there if he does that. I don't know who this guy is, but hopefully he doesn't do that because that would make him a huge douche and a grifter, but whatever. Sharp Cal, $2. Buff Like Jesus, $20. Magic Towels and floppy 30-06s. He must have also been wearing the cloak of yeah, he's got the Harry Potter cloak. Yeah, it's a floppy 30-06. Again, I don't know how you watch that footage of him pick up this big floppy item that looks like either a backpack or a jacket and be like, that's a 44-inch fucking long gun wrapped in a towel. Yeah. No. Okay, maybe. Doubt it, but maybe. If TMZ has their watermark on that surveillance vid, does that mean Lyman sold the rights to the footage? That's a weird thing to do. Oh, Lyman, that's his name. Yeah, that's Lyman's. He owns that house, I believe, and that's his car in the driveway. And he's obviously he sent it to TMZ, which bizarre. That's who you chose to send it to. To be clear, my 2 super chats are jokes. All right, gotcha. Finally able to catch a stream. Glad to be here. I hope the truth comes out. I mean, I don't think we're ever going to get it at this point, or at least not anything that's going to. We're not going to get a truth that's going to make any of us happy. I don't think. You know what I mean? Like, who knows? Maybe, but I doubt it. Because again, if the trial goes forward and they convict Tyler and they say, "Yep, it's a 30-06 with the full metal jacket round that just his neck was steel and it just didn't pass through," and like all these things, nobody's going to believe that. So maybe it's true, but nobody's going to believe it. We'll see. Cody Fisher, $40. Thank you, brother. That's very generous of you. I'm at the point, the fact they're trying to get all of us to believe absolutely any of the caliber used was who shot, all of it. We need to be talking about we the people in power accountable instead. Yeah, I mean, I'm not like, it's a hard one. We the people in power, and I'm sorry, brother. I'm trying to be talking about we hold the people in power accountable. Yeah, but like who are we holding accountable? We don't like, I can't point to who it is. You know what I mean? Towel over the ejection port. What? No, it's a bolt action rifle, dude. You just don't expel the round, right? You don't have to cover the ejection point on a bolt action rifle, brother. The round doesn't expel until you expel it. How can he break it? How can he break it down with a round still in the receiver bolt? Doesn't that round have to be taken apart? Well, apparently they're not claiming he broke it down when he left. He left with it wrapped in a towel. Again, this giant fucking 44-inch gun wrapped in a black towel that we just magically can't see him carry out. That's what they're talking about. I don't think anybody's saying that he broke it down to come off. Oh, I know they aren't, because it would have taken him 5 minutes to do it, and that wouldn't have made any sense because you can see him take off running, right? Is Young no Army experience, chooses bolt action? I mean, I guess if that's what dad, apparently it's like it was a gift from his dad. At first it was Grandpappy's old World War I relic that he stole. Then it turns out dad gifted him the rifle, which I believe is in the court documents as well, which is bizarre. Again, it's all over the place. All right, Joe, what's up, buddy? Okay. Isn't this a little bit suspicious? Dude supposedly makes the shot with a crappy old World War I. Here's the thing, though, Joe, we heard that, but there's nothing in the court documents that state that's what this rifle is. So it's kind of like the dad turned him in story. Is this an old World War I relic, or was this just bad information that we got? Anyway, era 30-06, just like Lee Harvey made the shot with a crappy Italian Cochran. WT, what the actual F is going on? Just saying. Also, again, I've got 2 of them sitting right there. World War II era Belgian Browning 30-06s. Fantastic guns. You know, those are 80 years old. No issues. They're not going to fire shitty because they're that old. It's not really a thing. Unless you just, I don't know what you'd have to do to make, I don't know. It's just not really a thing. But to your point, I don't even know if the World War I era thing is even a real thing that the FBI ever even said at this point. Cucks give you money, just call you a grifter, screw them. We with you, Daddy V. Thanks, brother. I appreciate you, man. We're not concerned with the haters around here, man. Not a big deal. Marco Capil, $10. Why are they outright excluding the possibility of an autoloader with gas set to 0, which is a common practice amongst sharpshooters? Possibility of an autoloader with gas set to 0? Well, I would say he's probably, because we're not looking at a sharpshooter, most likely. If it's Tyler Robinson, this dipshit 22-year-old kid who apparently really wasn't into shooting, apparently from his family, even though that was gifted to him. I don't know. Anything's possible at this point, brother. I'm even looking into the the idea of the air guns at this point, because nothing makes sense. Logically, at least with the story. How did they recover the DNA so quickly? I don't know. I don't know anything about DNA testing, how fast it can be done. Maybe somebody that knows about that could help us. I'm not sure. I would assume this takes a while, but I don't know. I'm not sure how they pulled DNA off a towel and a trigger and a bullet and all these things, but I'm assuming they can. I'm sure DNA testing is pretty good at this point. The DNA testing shows potentially that the gun was Tyler's, but the gun also was found in the woods. It wasn't found at the location of the shooter. So just some things to think about. Just common sense in it, $20. Thank you very much. The metadata from the video of the guy laying on the roof. He points where he ran with his finger. Doesn't support the narrative. The guy's actions, getting into position or leaving the roof, timing just doesn't work. The metadata from the video, guy laying on the roof. Oh, from is that the one that they were like pointing upwards at, and they said, "Hey, there's somebody up there laying on the roof"? I've always wondered what location that actually was, because you see that from a different angle. I actually haven't seen anybody like get deep into that, if that's actually even the same position as what we saw. It'd be kind of interesting if somebody could deep dive that. All right, Buff like Jesus, $20. Thank you, brother. He must have used the Elder Wand and Saruman's staff to throw the bullet, and that explained the bullet broke physics. The investigators must be C-section babies because they are allergic to labor. They ain't even trying. Yeah, I mean, as far as I saw, they pretty much said they knew exactly what happened. Didn't really even lock down the crime scene. And they submitted the court documents like 4 days later. And as you guys saw, some of those things in the court documents, I can disprove right here in this YouTube video. Like the 30-06 and the jeans. Like, that's not a thing. But it's in the official prosecution documents. That's not great. So we'll see what they do with that. Doubt the kid in jail lives to see the trial. That's what a lot of people are saying. I would not be surprised if he does not. Make things very convenient. If you can ever get your hands on a VSS Val Vicar, could you test it? If I could get my hands on it, I could. I don't know anybody that has them. What about a 35 rem? Could be slower in a big round. Yeah, but problem is, like, the bigger the round gets, the more damage you're going to see done. Even a slow round that's even bigger than that is going to create tons and tons of damage. And we don't really see that. We see some pretty big cavitation, which you would expect from a high-powered rifle round. No exit wound. Everything gets really, really weird, really fast. Howard, thank you. Green Ranger 20, you should have Bruce Rivers, the criminal lawyer. He might do a collab with you. He's a criminal lawyer who covers stuff like this. That would be cool, because that is, excuse me, we could deep dive into the actual court documents and what the prosecution is going to have to try to bring forward. So that might be a really interesting one. Bruce Rivers, write that down, because that is a side of things. My dad's a lawyer, but he doesn't do criminal law. So he's only so much help when it comes to that. But that might be an interesting one with that. Do you think the jury is really going to find him guilty? I don't know, man. It depends on if there's a bunch of, stuff at trial that is, evidence we haven't seen before that's very, very convincing. Maybe, but I can tell you, if the court documents we see right there, they just walk up and they say, yep, this kid carried this 30-06 in his skinny jeans up to the roof and they shot him from it, and all they have is that footage. No, I don't think he's going to get found guilty based off that. But I gotta imagine, I hope they have something more substantial. But who knows, man? At this point, again, I don't know why people get mad at me. I'm like the one guy who, through all of this, has been open to every possibility. I haven't come to any definite conclusion whatsoever. I've said the entire time, I don't know, guys. I haven't seen evidence that compels me to believe any narrative exclusively yet. I just haven't seen it. The official one, conspiracy theory ones, anything like that. I think it's just too much missing information. Welcome. Thanks, buddy. Munchkin Cat Fund. Hell yeah, brother. Appreciate you. Munchkin's out there doing something. Who knows at this point? AJ Trottle. Rubber pencil trick is where you make the pencil look floppy by waving it up and downside. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't think we saw that with that big ass supposed 30-06, you know what I mean? But maybe there was some magic done. Kept the good work for well from now. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Thank you. What are your thoughts on Candace Owens? What are your thoughts on, well, I'm not going to get into the second one. You must be new to the channel, or you would already know my feelings on the second one. But Candace Owens, here's the thing with Candace. I think she gets a little wazoo a lot of the times. I think she's wrong about a lot of things. She's also right about a lot of things. I just always think with Candace, like, you kind of have to take it with a grain of salt. You know, there was the thing with the TPUS USA where everybody said she was a liar and she put out fake text messages. And then Turning Point had to come out and admit that those were in fact real, and Candace was right. So I don't discount, but you know, Candace also will talk about underground tunnels and all this crazy shit that I'm like, it's probably not true. But again, I think Candace means well. I think she did. I really do think Candace means well when it comes to this Charlie Kirk stuff. I just think that it's not all the best information in the world at all times, but I do think she's a dog with a bone, and she's trying hard, and she's brought forth a lot of interesting information for sure. But I'm not pretending like I have all the answers either. Everything is just from my personal perspective, in my experience in the job I did. And I look at it as like, what makes sense? What doesn't make sense? So, all right, trying to get through these. So, God, there's a ton of them. I don't trust Cash. Oh, rushing to appease his boss and the initial narrative of the left radical trans. We heard stranger things. I can't stand Cash Patel. I think he's garbage. I think he should be fired. I'm sorry if you don't like that. I've seen nothing that impresses me from him, especially the Epstein files. Sorry. Yeah, he needs to go, in my personal opinion. So if you don't like that, that is what it is. And let me show you guys something real quick that backs up my feelings on that. Okay. So before you get mad at me, let me just show you this. Okay. And then we can move on. All right. So let's hide that real quick. All right. Let's all stop and remember this one real quick.
Lastly, to my friend Charlie Kirk, rest now, brother. We have the watch, and I'll see you in Valhalla.
Okay. So, yeah. I don't need some fucking Indian dude saying stupid shit like that when he's the director of the FBI. Discredits the FBI. It turns it all into a joke. So if you guys, you know, you want to support him, that's fine. I think he needs to go. Trump needs to get him the fuck out as fast as possible. That's just my personal feeling on that. Not a fan. Anyway, I digress. Just because I laugh so hard at you, get fuck loser. How about that? Yeah, I mean, typically, man, you guys know I'm respectful and nice, but if you come in here and you say, you know, super rude shit to me, then yeah, you can go fuck yourself. I'll talk shit back. I don't got a problem with that. Thank you for keeping the subject alive. Appreciate you, brother. Yeah, I've seen this one a few times. Possible to still even that moving at 2,600 feet per second. God, so unlikely that a human neck potentially. It's just, I don't know, man. Also, you know, again, I'm open to all possibilities. Joseph Young, $20. They're throwing out everything in the world with the truth hidden somewhere. I mean, that's probably the truth, is that somewhere in between all this crazy shit, the truth actually worked its way in. Who knows what it is? Marilyn Monroe, welcome. Do you think they could have shot from under the table, hidden guns? Someone else pulled the trigger. That Candace brought that one up. What's interesting is, do I think that? No, I don't think that. But if you're working off the assumption that when Stephen talked about what he was told is that the initial gunshot hit the C2 vertebrae, actually, yes, that would have, and I proved this through, you know, angles and math in one of my videos, that shot would have had to come from an upward angle, which would mean below Charlie. However, I do not believe that the medical report is going to show that the initial gunshot hit Charlie in the C2. I just don't believe that. Because that changes everything. It makes everything way more complicated. Google Mauser 30-06 barrel. These have screw-on barrels. Right, which he would have had to unscrew. You can take down a 30-06 into 3, technically 4 pieces if you talk about the trigger assembly. So you can do it, but again, you still got to fit it in a tiny ass black backpack, which is hard to do. What's up, Joe? My point wasn't about the reliability of the weapon, but the shooter. How many kids or experienced shooters could make a shot needed? Old doesn't mean bad. I suspect it was from a bargain barrel. Just saying. Supposedly, according to the FBI, he had a $2,000 scope on it, which actually would have far more of an impact on his ability to shoot it. As a new shooter, I see this one a lot, right? I think it's 139 yard shot, I think, is what we've figured out exactly based off of like the Google imagery and everything. Everybody talks about how easy of a shot that is with a high powered rifle round with the scope, which for me, I would agree. I'm not trying to brag, but with someone with my firearms experience, I would hit that shot 10 out of 10 times. The issue is you're talking about a kid who probably doesn't shoot very often, crowded environment. His adrenaline is probably going to be ramped up to 1,000 because he's about to assassinate somebody. All of those things mixed in. Is that shot with Charlie Kirk potentially moving around? Is that the easiest shot in the world? No. Is it a shot somebody could still effectively take most times if they had a decent amount of experience with that specific weapon? Yeah, I think so. And the fact that it hit him in the neck, what does that mean? Was he aiming for the tee box of the head and he actually missed by about 7 inches, right? Which maybe you would expect. There's all sorts of different things that could go into that. But 139 yard shot with a high powered rifle with a really good scope, not a tough shot, even under like pretty serious duress. Yeah, sorry, I kind of rambled a little bit on that one. All right, with your medical experience, do you think it's plausible that it was a very small entry wound, but the rapid blood flow leaving his neck expanded the hole, making it look odd regardless of the caliber? So, good question. So, the carotid artery is like insanely pressurized, right? There's constant pressure that's coming into your carotid, right? In and out because there's so much blood that's running to your brain at all times. So, any sort of big hole to the carotid is going to cause a ton of blood to come out, whether it be an entrance or an exit wound. I do think it's entrance. Most entrance wounds are very, very small, even with high caliber rifle rounds. 30-06, not necessarily. It's a big ass round. But with the amount of pressure that carotid has, even an entrance wound with something like a 5.56 straight to the carotid, yeah, you're still going to see a ton of blood just flying out of that because it's so much pressure pumping into that artery that it could be entrance or exit. But the thing with an exit wound makes it a little bit harder is most exit wounds are going to basically grab, rip, and tear flesh with them as that round sort of expands, right, or mushrooms out. Although human neck isn't a whole lot of room for that expansion to happen, but an exit wound most likely would have caused more damage, although maybe not. Like it's just really hard to tell because the fidelity of the camera is not that good. But I'll say this: entrance or exit wound, you would expect to in a carotid artery like that, you'd expect to see a ton of blood coming out of that for sure. Yeah, I agree. Bruce Rivers, criminal lawyer, reacts on his YouTube channel. All right, I'll look him up. Thank you. We're getting close to the end here. There wasn't a blood trail. No, there was not. The people who helped Charlie had no blood on their hands. No, they did not. How come someone who got shot in the neck not bleed all over? They can't. And they do. And we had my buddy Alex, the Sticky Green Beret, who's an 18 Delta Special Forces medic, come and talk about that last week. That is just not a thing. Any arterial wound. I saw somebody trying to say that somebody said they watched me and Alex's show and said that there wouldn't be that much blood from a carotid artery gunshot wound. Holy fuck. I don't know what you're smoking with that, but that is absolutely not a thing, as Alex walked us through in the last live. The court hearing Tyler looks nothing like a scrawny staircase Tyler. No, he doesn't. That's true. Tyler looks much bigger and much more broad than the kid that's in that stairwell. I would agree with you on that. You've seen the video of the guards holding up 5 men 4-minute fingers and checking their watches at the same time before the shot. I've not seen that video. Send it to me on Instagram if you got it. What's up with Erica's weird behavior? Everybody grieves differently, brother. I'm not going to walk into that minefield. I'll tell you that. I have my own opinions on it. I'm not going to share them. I'll just say that. Chris Queso, $5. He came off the roof with the gun wrapped in a towel. So when did he shove it down his pants? He was limping as soon as he landed on the ground. No, he didn't shove it down his pants. That's not what they're saying. They're saying he has it as he's running. Like, don't believe your eyes as you watch that video where you can very clearly see he doesn't have this rifle. He's got it wrapped in the towel and he's running away with it. That's what they're saying. So, yeah. Cell phone gun audience shooter. I mean, maybe. I don't know. All the problem is you need, I do think you need a high powered rifle round to create the cavitation we see in his neck when he gets hit. But I don't know. Run the 3 mile and then talk to me. Marine Corps, 3rd Battalion, Mike Company. Run the 3 mile. What do you mean the 3 mile, brother? 3 mile PT test? I was in the Special Forces. We had to do a Special Operations PT test, which was much higher than a regular Army PT test. So, which included a 5 mile run, my dude. Just so you know. Parking lot there. Parking lot right there for his car. Why walk by the TMZ camera? Who knows, man? I'm not here to say if he's smart or dumb. I'm saying it's all bizarre. Greasy Bear, $5. I called BS. If they're so scared to talk, it's because the truth could set a man free. A man's story that could have killed an innocent man. I mean, I don't think they care about that, man. I think they have the shooter and they're going to try him, or they have the shooter and they're going to try him. If Trump was involved, I'm already done with Trump. What are you talking about? I am super not on board with Trump, dude. At this point. Sorry if this blows your mind here on the channel, but we fucking dumped Trump after fucking the Iran attacks and Epstein, dude. Fuck that, man. I don't have any support for that dude anymore. I'm not a Democrat, but I'm not sure how you can look around at this point and be like, yeah, we love Trump. Like, okay, I'm not really sure what the fuck you're cheering on because he sure as shit hasn't done anything he campaigned on. Leave it at that. I know that'll piss some people off, but whatever. How do you feel about a 30-06 projectile being shot into the ballistic coral of the cadaver, cleaned, inserted manually into the posterior entry on the estimated? I mean, if we're talking full tinfoil hat that this is a massive cover up, yeah, I mean they could easily do that. Why not? But I'm not ready to get that tinfoil with it. You know what I mean? That's look at this. Look, whoever was that? I'm a leftist now because I'm not fucking Israel first. Okay, guy. Yeah. Okay. You have fun, dude. You keep voting for this shit. I'm just no. That's sorry. I'm not fucking retarded, so I'm not going to keep supporting dumb shit like this, right? Like I support. You know who I support? America. And if you don't support America first, and let me get into that. Let's talk about that, right? Let's take a little pause here to talk about. Because you guys asked me about Trump. Let's talk about the shutdown. I actually had one of my buddies, active duty teammate of mine, hit me up right before the live and said, you better talk about this on the live. And so I figure I will. Government shutdown, ladies and gentlemen. You guys know we're in a government shutdown right now. My friends, and I have a lot of friends and teammates that are still active duty right now. They're not going to receive their fucking paychecks here in about 5 days. You guys know that? Our military members, they're not going to get paid. Do you know who is going to get fucking paid? You guys know who's going to get paid? Let me know. Anybody? Who's going to get paid? Who's still going to get paid? Congress. That's fucking right. Who else? Congress is going to get paid. Caitlin, good job. Yes, they are. Who else is still going to get funding? You guys know? I'm going to see it here eventually. I figure, oh, there it was. I saw it. With my chat, you think we would have had this faster. Wow. Yes, Nemi. The hats. The hat's still getting paid. That's right, boys. Israel's still getting that funding. The IDF's still getting paid. Yeah. They're still getting paid. Not my buddies that are active duty. Congress is. So think about that. You can call it the Schumer shutdown. Okay, that's fine. I don't really care. But I know that I know who's in charge of the government right now. All of it. Senate, House, the presidency, Supreme Court. We fucking control all of it. But yet, my buddies in the military ain't going to get their fucking paychecks here in 5 days. So, don't fucking ask me why I don't support this shit anymore. Okay? Sorry. Again, that's going to be divisive. Some people aren't going to like that. I don't care. I don't care. I'm sick of it. I'm fucking over it. This isn't what anybody fucking voted for. Right. And yeah, I don't support, here's what I'll say. Regardless of what political affiliation you are, if you are actively protecting fucking these motherfuckers, I don't support you anymore. Period. See that? Maybe they need to see this, right? You got that? As long as you're supporting that shit and protecting those people, go fuck yourself. That's where I'm at. And if you want to unsubscribe to me because of that, I don't care. Right? You guys know I'm a nonpartisan guy. We kind of spiraled out of control a little bit, but I actually am pissed off about that. I'm pissed off about the shutdown. I'm pissed off that my fucking friends who don't make a lot of money, because you don't get paid that much fucking money in the military, might have to get there. A lot of them are fucking already on food stamps. Now they're not going to get fucking paid. Why? Because our shithead fucking government can't get their shit together, both sides. And that's where, like, what are my politics, guys? Here's my politics. You guys really want my politics in 2025? Fuck the government, both sides. Period. That's my politics. Both sides can go fuck themselves. Because neither side has done jack fucking shit for the American people. In I don't know since when. You know, and I was like, oh, well, you know, as a conservative, which I don't even know what the fuck that means anymore. Well, you know, at least we got our side in charge, and then our side doesn't do fucking anything besides send billions of dollars to foreign fucking countries. So I don't have a side, man. That's where I'm at, boys. I don't have a side. I'm not fucking Republican. I'm not Democrat. I guess I'm an independent. Anybody. How do you win my vote? I guess. I know we're sidetracking. We're spiraling a little bit here, guys. We're kind of moved past the Charlie stuff. How do you earn my vote? Let's do a poll, man. Let's do a poll. Like, we haven't done a poll. We've been going hard. We're regardless of what side we're on, we're Democratic on this channel. You guys know that. Let's talk about this. All right. Your politics. I love polls. You guys know I love polls. All right. Dem, Republican, fuck both sides equally. These are your three choices. I just want to see what you guys, I want to see what my chat thinks, right? So, are you Republican, are you Democrat, or are you the third option? Okay. Sorry. Let me know what you think. Because again, we did this poll a while back, just saw where we were at, and it was pretty interesting. But it'd be interesting to see where we're at now. And this is what, a year in? Yeah, about a year in. It'd just be interesting to see where the chat is. I trust my chat. I think we have a lot of critical thinkers in our chat. I don't think we have like a whole lot of super hardcore partisan people. We do have a lot of people in the community that are like, hey, open-minded. You don't have to agree with everything that we say, but typically you're not just going to be like straight down party lines. So it should be interesting to see what you guys think. All right, let's see. We're going to hit a few more super chats. All right. Rocky Mountain Bear, what's up, brother? Hey, brother, I just received the sexy Valhalla VFT colored logo hoodie in green. The hoodie I won a couple weeks ago. It's so soft and comfy. I think I'm going to throw it on and go cuddle with my full body pillow. Hell yeah, there you go, guys. We do have great merch, guys. Not just saying that, but I buy all high quality shit. So if you buy my merch, it's actually like good shit you're going to want to wear. Which you can find that, I don't know, you can find it somewhere in my YouTube bio or something. Just Common Sense in at $20. What are your thoughts on self-destructing bullets? So like a frangible round? Or they were created by the military and range, can be adjusted, can't find the info, but I read only report was used by Israel. Well, so like that's kind of what a frangible round is. The problem with a frangible round, which I keep people saying, is everybody keeps saying that there's a full fucking bullet lodged in his neck just above the T1. And if there's a full bullet lodged in his neck, it wasn't a frangible round, because a frangible round is basically just going to disintegrate on impact. Not completely. It's going to fragment and cause a bunch of fucking damage, right? Like a hollow point sort of would. But that's my problem with the frangible round. It's a possibility, but like, why does he have a full round lodged in his neck, according to everybody who's seen it? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I'm speaking the truth. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Trump is letting Qatar build military base in Idaho. Forget Trump. At what point does this shit stop? And what do you think has happened for the American people to stand up and collectively do something? Take their iPhones away. I know people laugh at that, but like, you want Americans to actually like do a Boston Tea Party, then you have to massively negatively affect their quality of life, like massively, to where they can't sit on a couch and doom scroll on Instagram. That's what it would take. What's the best way to support you? Just watching the channel, man. Showing up every day. When I watch my videos, dude. I never ask for anything other than that. Everything beyond that is just thank you for the support. You know what I mean? Timothy McGee, everybody should stay off my back, stay out of my wallet, and let me live the destiny I'm center right. Yeah, I like that. Support my people, the left and right of me, not the system that doesn't care about us. Proud and independent. Yeah, brother. Lifelong independent and proud. I didn't always, man. I used to be a fucking hardcore, staunch Republican, boys. I'm talking, we'll talk about that, where I've come from, right? Here in a second. FBI's line, the rifle is described as grandpa's in the text. Either cannot be true. It looks like a modern Mauser 18. Check out it on their page. I've talked about that before, man. Yeah, they say it's grandpappy's old rifle, but the picture they showed, which apparently the FBI is saying that's not actually their picture. I don't know. But yeah, we're like, oh, let me see what our poll looked like. Oh my God. All right, so this is actually kind of shocking. 11% Democrat, 19% Republican. That is way less than I expected from my channel. And 20% and a whopping 70% said, fuck the government, both sides, boys. 70% of the channel, fuck the government, both sides. That's where we are. And I bet most of you like me didn't used to be that way. You probably used to be like a liberal or, conservative, Republican. And at this point, yeah, why would you support either of these political parties, guys? Like, really? I don't know. And I used to be fucking hardcore Republican. Like GOP, especially while I was active duty and serving and fighting the wars, and I, post 9/11 propaganda where I thought, Islam was the most evil thing in the world and I was going to save America. I used to be that guy, right? I was pro-Israel, right? Israel can do nothing wrong. I was all those things. And then, right, I went to war. I went to the Middle East and I looked around with my own eyes and started going, what the fuck are we doing here? What exactly is this? Have we made Afghanistan and Iraq better in 20 years? Doesn't look like it. And then I watched what happened, especially over the last 2-3 years in Gaza. And I went, yeah, no, I'm fucking done with all that. So I just kind of used my eyes and always thought I was a critical thinker. And at this point, I don't see either party serving in the best interest of the American people. Just the American people. So bring me an actual America First candidate, and I'll support him. But I sure shit haven't seen that. Do we have any America First, real America First? Massey, I guess. Like, we got one. Like, is that it? No, I'm not. No, I see the comments. Oh, Islam's the worst. I'm not saying I'm not pro-Islam. I'm also not pro-Israel. If they're not America, I don't have any interest in supporting anyone outside of America anymore. You know why? I live in Oregon and I can go look down the street and look at fucking zombie land. Just fucking thousands of homeless people everywhere. I can go up to Portland. I can see what Portland looks like. And so I can see, again, homeless veterans everywhere. I can see my buddies who are in the military who are about to not get paid. We're talking about the United States military, the greatest country in the world, can't figure out how to pay its fucking soldiers? Really? Is that actually where we're at in 2025? Think about that. We can't figure out how to pay our fucking active duty troops. We can't figure out how to solve the fucking fentanyl crisis. We can't figure out how to do anything about homelessness or, child poverty. Like we can't figure out anything. I don't know, guys. That's I just saw somebody say, where was that? I might have missed it. Somebody just said, the GOP is way better than the leftists. I mean, are they? In what way? What does the GOP stand for? Like in 2025, right now, what's the GOP stand for? Because the only thing I see the GOP standing for is just whatever is best for Israel. I'm not trying to talk shit. I'm just saying that's all I see policy-wise. I see a government shutdown with my buddies not getting paid while fucking Israel still gets $20 billion. We just sent $20 billion to Argentina to fund their cattle and agriculture issues, which is going to fuck over the American cattle industry. How is that America first? Have you guys seen what the cattle farmers are saying about what's about to happen because of the Argentina bailout? We're about to hose the fuck out of our own American cattle industry. How is that America first? Somebody explain it to me. Can anybody explain this to me? Am I crazy? I don't know. And it's kind of like, it's you hate to say it, you almost can't say it on YouTube, but it's kind of like the Nick Fuentes approach, man. I mean, I don't know about you guys. Now, regardless of some of the super outrageous shit he says, I saw him talking about the other day. What exactly is this administration doing for young Americans? I mean, I even look at it and be like, oh, I didn't support Biden at all, but he tried to fucking do something with student loan debt and all these different things. Not that I need that. I paid off my student loans, but do something to help the American people. Right now, it's nothing. It's eat this fucking shit sandwich and don't complain because our side's in charge. That's all I see out of the right now. You should just fucking accept getting shit on. You can't buy a house, and it's not me, man. I'm 40. I own a home, right? I'm already set. I'm retired. All these different things. I'm looking at it from the young generation. I'm watching 20 to 25-year-old kids leaving college. What the fuck are you gonna do? Basically, no jobs. I just finished my master's degree. Pretty much everybody I went to school with that's actually looking for jobs. I'm not looking for jobs because I have, YouTube and everything. Every single one of them is I've applied to 50 jobs and nobody's even responded back. Every fucking one of them. And those are people with master's degrees in business. So I don't know, man. If this is making America great, I don't know. I kind of want to go back to maybe not so great because I don't know what the fuck this is. I don't know how you guys feel. Again, sorry for the rant, but my buddy texted me, and again, active duty in Army Special Forces hit me up dude, this is so fucked up. We're not getting paid. And me hearing that, dude, and we're talking about buddies that fought the fucking wars. that I serve with, they're like, I don't know, man. Like, gonna have to get fucking food stamps this month. Like, what the fuck are we doing here? I can't. All right, let's hit these final super chats and let's get out of here, man. We've been going quite a while. My wife's out of town. Kid didn't have football tonight. That's why we got to go a little bit longer than usual. Thank you all for listening to me rant. You know, we've still got almost 9,000 people in the chat. It's crazy. I love you all so much for supporting. Again, you know, you guys know I don't do politics. It's not really my thing, but I am just getting so fucking sick of the shit I'm seeing, right? And I'm just not the type of person that I'm not a partisan. I'm not going to just sit here and be like, well, you know, I support the right, so I got to pretend that everything's fucking awesome. Fuck that, dude. I think we need more people to come out and say, hey, if this is my party affiliation, you fucking suck. You did nothing you said you were going to do. I'm not going to vote for you. I'll tell you guys right this, and you can clip this. If 2028 rolls around and the right hasn't figured the fuck out what they're doing and they actually want to become America first and actually start doing policy that helps people that are in my country, I'll vote for fucking Gavin Newsom. You know why I'll vote for Gavin Newsom? Not because I think he'll do a good job, but because it's going to be a referendum on, hey, we put you in power and you didn't do jack shit to fucking help anybody. So now we can put the other side in power. And at least that way, it'll fucking piss off and radicalize the moderates and the right to go, oh, maybe we can't take advantage of our fucking constituents anymore. So again, it would be that's more of like a black pilled thing, right? Of like, that's a total fuck it. But to my point, like you're pushing people like me that far to where I'm just like, yeah, okay. You know what I mean? Again, probably wouldn't. It's just, that's how fucking angry I am right now. And a lot of people are getting there too. I probably still wouldn't vote for Gavin Newsom regardless because he's goddamn fucking snake oil salesman and a used car salesman wrapped into the biggest, sleaziest piece of shit ever. But you get my point, guys. That's just more of the rant that I would love to see. I would love to see some type of threat, at least, that will get us off the I can't even say it. I was gonna say the make Israel great again. You can't say that word because it sounds like a different word. But yeah. All right. Let's hit these last super chats. We'll get out of here before I get myself in trouble, as I'm going down the furious rabbit hole. But again, I'm fucking pissed off right now, and I think a lot of you guys are probably pissed off right now too, as you're looking around, going, so wait, the government shut down and military's not getting paid, but also, yeah, see, like this, where was that? Yeah. See, this is the type of person like that's so fucking buried their head in the sand, like pro Fox News boomer. That's like, oh my God, you can't say anything bad don't say anything bad about Trump. Oh no. Yeah, get the fuck out of here, dude. Unsubscribe. If you still support this shit, that's fine. I'll speak with my mind. Again, and that's me as a conservative. So and this is the other thing. If you're pushing people like me that are lifelong conservatives to not support you, you're not doing a very good job. I'll just leave it at that. Yeah. If you can't critically think for yourself and want your political party to actually fucking do the things that you voted for them, then yeah, get the fuck out of here. All right. Last couple. Let's see what we got. Did I miss any? There we go. Patrick, the Irishman, $20. Thank you very much. Preach. Thank you for speaking your mind. I'm sick of people being ignorantly divided by two sides. I don't care about them. 5 years of private security, Afghanistan, and the people who covered my 6 are being trashed. Yes, they are, brother. Unfortunately, yes, they are. It's not, preacher. It's not right or left. It's the entire government. That's my feeling, man. Like my whole thing, guys, is like, I really don't have it's not right versus left. It's we the people versus the fucking government and the establishment. That's where I'm looking at right now. And I don't know what that means politically, but that's where I'm at. Jeremy Deshar, $50. Thank you for always keeping it real. I've served our country for going on 35 years. Goddamn, brother. It's really sad that this is what is actually going on right now. The only way you can make it right is to stand up, take notes, and vote that regime out. I'm not sure voting does anything, though, bro. Like, what are you going to vote? You're going to vote out Trump and vote in who? Like I said, I was like satirical when I talked about voting in Gavin, but it's not like that side's going to be any fucking better. And that's the sad thing. We're out in the state of America is it's like, who do you even vote for? Does your vote mean anything? Because regardless of who you vote for, they're all going to go kiss the fucking wall at the end of the day. I'll tell you that. Right, Chris? $5. Reality sucks when you're losing power globally. Politicians have not forgotten that they represent a ghost, that we all are. I feel ya. Yeah. What about the Qatari base? I don't know. I don't know anything about a Qatari base, but there better not be a fucking Qatari base in our country. I'll tell you that. Yeah. It's not that I have any problems necessarily with Qatar. I mean, they actually did support America a lot throughout the war. But yeah, we don't need any foreign nation to have bases in America, including the tiny hats. I'll tell you that. So simple politics, living on one's own term, and being the service of others. I feel you, aka being American tonight is an example of our unity. Yeah, brother. Again, I'm just America first, guys. And if you are not acting in the interest of the American people, politically and policy-wise, get the fuck out. I don't care if you are right, if you're left, if you are not acting on behalf of the American people, fuck you. That's my politics, guys. So as long as if we can get some politicians in who actually care about America and don't shut the government down over fucking nothing and fuck over American troops and stuff, then great. And that's both sides. So that's my politics, guys. So what did I say? Fuck the government, both sides. That's where I'm still at. So, all right, we went on a little bit of a hardcore rant there at the end, but that's okay. That's what makes it fun on these live streams. We typically don't do politics, but you know, sometimes it really, again, this is more of a rant because I had some of my former teammates hit me up and be like, dude, this is so fucked up what's happened to us. I don't know if I'm going to have enough money to feed my family this month because I'm not going to be getting paid. That is kind of nah, man. I'm not going to shut up about that. So, all right, that is going to do it for this one. Been a great live stream. And yeah, guys, that hopefully, I don't know, we didn't figure anything out probably, but I guess we still had a good time. We'll have to wait and see. I feel like I don't think there's I keep saying I don't think any more is going to come out with the Charlie Kirk situation, and then weirder shit comes out, but I think we're at the point. I am going to do a video on the security detail start to finish about how shitty they are at their job. We'll talk about that. But other than that, I think we're kind of waiting for the court case at this point, which is going to be a wild one. So we'll have to wait and see what that is. All right. So, yeah, everybody, always throw these ones out there. I love my life. I'm not suicidal. So don't no foreign agencies or anybody decide that, I need to, that I supposedly decided to in my own life. That is not the case. I would have done that much earlier if I was going to do that. But I'm just going to keep speaking my own truth, guys. And thank you very much for the support. It means a lot, man. I like to be able to come on here and talk to you guys and just, talk about the things I think, my perspective. So no, Nate should not run for POTUS. I'm not a politician. I would be a horrible politician. Thank you for the comment. Where was that one at? Somebody said you should run for president. Yeah, no, man, I would be a horrible if you guys haven't seen, I would be a terrible, terrible politician. But I appreciate it anyway. All right, that's going to do it, guys. This was a pretty 2.5 hours on this one. It's a good one. I'll see y'all next week. Take care, everybody.